Chapter 595. Zheng Jiangliu thought to himself. Only he and Jiao Hansong knew that the sea burial lotus flower was in the coastal sea controlled by the listening heron chamber of commerce. Everyone else had been dealt with by Jiao Hansong, and even Zheng Wenbo wasn't aware of it. Since Jiao Hansong was dead, Zheng Jiangliu was the only person who knew about it. Now that the sea burial lotus flower was gone, Zheng Jiangliu knew that he had to swallow all his grievances as the only person who knew about it. Otherwise, if the second young master knew about the sea burial lotus flower's secret, he wouldn't let the three lineages off. The strongest member of the Zheng family's three lineages was Jiao Hansong. With Jiao Hansong's death, out of the four branches of the Zheng family that were originally neck and neck, the third branch had become the weakest. Zheng Jiangliu had to find a reliable backer for the three lineages. Even if this backer was greedier than a ferocious tiger, Zheng Kaiyuan glanced at Zheng Jiangliu. Since the three lineages intend to rely on me, they just have to develop the resources in the coastal sea. Don't bother about anything else. As for the profits, I want 90%. When Zheng Jiangliu heard this, he gritted his teeth so hard that they were about to shatter. Zheng Kaiyuan's cold face revealed a smile with killing intent as he looked sideways at Zheng Jiangliu and asked calmly, "Why? Does third uncle think that Kaiyuan's opinion isn't good?" Zheng Jiangliu's tightly clenched teeth trembled for a moment, so much so that his teeth tasted like blood. Zheng Jiangliu pulled Zheng Wenbo, who was behind him, to kneel on the ground and speak loudly. Second young master's opinion is naturally the best. Zheng Jiangliu, who was kneeling on the ground, had a faint guess in his heart. A few days ago, the cold moon had hung high in the sky, and the dense moonlight had shone on the coastal region outside Indigo Azure City. That location was exactly the same as the location where he had sent Jiao Hansong to intercept the youth. However, this guess was too terrifying, and Zheng Jiangliu didn't dare to think too deeply about it. During this half a month, the Zheng family hadn't suffered any calamity. Zheng Jiangliu felt that he was thinking too much. If the Zheng family really touched that existence in the sky, even the Miao family behind the Zheng family's second young master would be in trouble. He had burned the Miao family, a top force that could look down on the world, into a pile of withered grass at the end of autumn. When Zheng Kaiyuan heard Zheng Jiangliu's reply, he looked at Zheng Jiangliu with disdain and ignored him. He turned to look at Bai Chenghu, who was kneeling there as much as possible to reduce his presence. The source is the listening heron chamber of commerce. Hihi, the listening heron chamber of commerce actually has such a huge background. As he spoke, Zheng Kaiyuan's eyes flashed with a trace of seriousness. Although Zheng Kaiyuan was arrogant, he was not stupid. Zheng Kaiyuan had even personally looked for the Indigo Azure Guard's captain to understand the situation. In the end, the leader of the Indigo Azure Guard, Zheng Jiangliu, personally went to inquire a few times and only left behind the four-word Sky City. Zheng Kaiyuan had no idea how powerful Sky City was. Zheng Kaiyuan did not dare to underestimate Yi Shiwen's ability to kill two emperor-level combatants in a single conflict. Bai Chenghu never thought that the second young master of the Zheng family would actually condescend to speak to him. However, rather than saying that the second young master was talking to him, it was more like he was talking to himself. Bai Chenghu, who thought that he had a good understanding of the listening heron chamber of commerce, did not dare to interrupt at all. Just as Bai Chenghu was at a loss, he did not expect to be called out by Zheng Kaiyuan. "Third uncle said that you're called Bai Chenghu? That's quite an imposing name. Since you're looking for third uncle to pull resources, I don't care if third uncle gives you resources or not. I can help you. Are you interested?" Bai Chenghu, whose legs were numb from kneeling, thought that he was doomed. He didn't expect that a surprise would fall on his head. Bai Chenghu's eyes lit up as he hurriedly replied, "I'm willing, my lord. I'm willing, my lord. If my lord is willing to help the Iron Wall Chamber of Commerce, I'll do anything." Zheng Kaiyuan tapped his fingers on the armrest of the main seat and said softly, "Now that the dimensional rift is active, any ferocious beast has to retract its claws. Now that the dimensional rift is active, all ferocious beasts will have to retract their claws. Otherwise, they won't have a good ending. However, the Zheng family can't do nothing. Bai Chenghu, if you want luxury resources, I'll give you luxury resources. You just have to use your means to force the listening Heron Chamber of Commerce to lose everything. Bai Chenghu was stunned by this surprise and thanked Zheng Kaiyuan happily. Zheng Jiangliu looked at Bai Chenghu with a rather complicated gaze. Bai Chenghu, who used to be like a pug in front of him, was different from the past after he had a relationship with the second young master and could sit face to face with him. But at the same time, Zheng Jiangliu's originally worried heart calmed down a lot. Although this matter was caused by the Zheng family's third lineage, it could be said that it had withdrawn from the vortex after giving up 90% of the shallow nearshore sea resources. Zheng Kaiyuan just had to develop the shallow nearshore sea resources and earn as much as possible. All the trouble was taken over by the second young master. Listening to the second young master's words, he was ready to fight to the end with the faction behind the listening Heron Chamber of Commerce. After spending the new year in the Radiant Moon Palace, they did not return to the mansion until noon on the first day of the new year. After returning to the mansion, they had a reunion dinner and were going out to stroll around the New Year's fair in the afternoon. He did not expect it to snow for the first time after the new year. It was snowing heavily, like goose feathers, turning the entire capital white. The verdant plants in the return from faraway mansion, including the red cinnabar sweet osmanthus in front of the mansion, were also covered with a thick layer of snow. When everyone saw that the snow was getting heavier, they dispelled the idea of strolling around the New Year's fair together. Instead, they made all kinds of exquisite pastries with Liu Jie. Upon seeing the goose feather-like snow falling from the sky, Lin Yuan felt that this snow was a good omen. Cold snow contains good intentions, and warm spring brings happiness and happiness. Auspicious snow indicates a fruitful year. May everything go well in the new year. Chu Xi had always been a quiet person, but she could not sit still at this moment. She kept thinking about going to the All-Star game tomorrow. Lin Yuan felt that she was more lively than genius and chimey combined. He watched as Chu Xi wandered around him, drawing circles around him. He knew that Chu Xi must have something to say to him. He reached out and patted the empty spot on the sofa. Stop spinning. I'm getting confused. What can't you say to me directly? Upon hearing that, Chu Xi sat down beside Lin Yuan and said with a chuckle, That's right. Brother, there might be a challenge at the All-Star game tomorrow. I have a feeling that I will be chosen. That's why I want to let the Vajra butterfly become a fantasy breed today. Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan stretched out his hand and lovingly pinched Chu Xi's nose. When did you become so superstitious? You still believe in your sixth sense. I still feel that I will be chosen. Third more. Seeking monthly votes and recommendation votes. End of this chapter. Chapter 597. After saying that, Lin Yuan hung up the phone. Lin Yuan had told Duan He his idea of roping in Duan He now. It was because he wanted to use a psychological game, the 1,000 layers game. He would first let Duan He be mentally prepared and weigh the pros and cons. If Duan He had no intention of joining Sky City, then no matter what he did, his goal of roping in Duan He would not succeed. On the contrary, if Duan He had the intention of joining Sky City, in this way, he would be able to increase his bargaining chips layer by layer in order to achieve Duan He's psychological expectations. He would let Duan He join his faction, Sky City. This was the essence of the 1,000 layers game. Lin Yuan got up from the water rhinoceros leather sofa and logged into Star Web. He arrived at the purchase with no loss store and waited for Duan He's arrival. At that moment, Lin Yuan, who was waiting for Duan He's arrival, frowned and pondered what kind of chips he could add to the matter of roping in Duan He. Not long after Lin Yuan sat down in his Star Web store, Duan He's figure walked into the door. Upon seeing Duan He, the corners of Lin Yuan's mouth curled into a smile. Since Duan He was here, it meant that his 1,000 layers game was already half successful. At least, Duan He still decided to come after knowing his purpose, which meant that Duan He already had intentions in his heart. Even if Duan He refused in his heart, he did not refuse to the end. There was still room for negotiation. Duan He looked at Lin Yuan and found that Lin Yuan looked the same as when he had seen him on the deserted island outside Indigo Azure City. He still wore the strange mask with the majestic Sky City pattern on his face. There were only Lin Yuan and Duan He in the store, so Duan He walked up to Lin Yuan and said, "My lord, My nephew said that he was in seclusion. Sir, what my nephew said was nonsense. I don't know how this child managed to eavesdrop on our conversation, said Wang Yao. Lin Yuan shook his head and said generously, I don't care about this kind of thing. I don't care about this kind of thing. No one will believe me even if I tell them. Here are 10 wind-type Heavenly Maiden grade elemental pearls with 98% purity. The price is according to our agreement. 2 source-type items for 1. He felt a little pained, but he was very agile. He quickly took out 20 source-type items and was ready to trade with Lin Yuan. Among these 20 source-type items, 3 had just been taken out by He from the Class 3 Water World Dimensional Rift. Even though He felt very pained. However, it had to be said that Lin Yuan's transaction price was already considered cheap as compared to buying from other Pinnacle Class 4 Creation Masters. At the very least, he wouldn't have to help Pinnacle Class 4 Creation Masters search for spiritual ingredients that were extremely difficult to gather and waste so much time and effort. He looked at the 20 source-type items that He handed over. Lin Yuan did not take it immediately. Instead, he spoke seriously. Senior He, if you're willing to join Sky City, you won't have to pay any price for these 10 wind attribute Heavenly Maiden grade elemental pearls. When He had heard Lin Yuan's recruitment, he had subconsciously rejected it and felt slightly stirred. He knew that Lin Yuan was the Moon Empress disciple. Joining Lin Yuan's faction would undoubtedly shorten the distance between him and the Moon Empress. However, joining a faction would not only bring benefits, but also responsibilities. He would also have many companions whom he could entrust his life to. What He hated the most was the feeling of his companion dying in front of him. Otherwise, He wouldn't have left the spirit guards so resolutely after one mission. He chose to become a freelance spirit chi professional. Therefore, He had already made up his mind to continue the transaction. When Lin Yuan saw that He didn't take back his hand, he knew that his first layer of pie had not worked. Therefore, Lin Yuan threw out his second layer of pie. Senior He, if you join Sky City, as long as you comprehend a willpower rune, Sky City will provide the most suitable bronze phase for you according to the willpower rune you have comprehended. Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, He shook his head again. He had indeed just comprehended a willpower rune. However, to He, a suitable bronze fey could be found as long as he spent some money and time. At the level of an Emperor-class expert, the real difficulty was no longer thinking about how to find a suitable bronze fey. Instead, it was how to nurture a high-quality bronze fey into a myth breed. After all, He only needed to trouble an advanced Class 4 Creation Master to order a high-quality bronze fey that was suitable for his willpower rune. Seeing that He still wanted to refuse, Lin Yuan waved his hand and summoned the 2 pots of bronze legend golden peonies that he had just entered into the star web. The moment Lin Yuan summoned the 2 luxurious and gorgeous golden peonies, his eyes immediately widened. He thought that the high-quality bronze fey that Lin Yuan mentioned would at most be at bronze epic. He didn't expect that Lin Yuan was actually talking about a bronze legend fey. He could find a suitable bronze epic fey, but he couldn't find a suitable bronze legend fey no matter what. When a Pinnacle Class 4 Creation Master nurtured a fey, there was a very small probability that they could nurture a bronze legend fey. To a certain extent, nurturing a bronze legend fey was already within the scope of a Class 5 Creation Master. He asked himself. The 3 Class 5 Creation Masters were the Moon Empress, the Bamboo Monarch, and the Chef Supreme. No matter which one of them it was, he didn't have the qualifications to visit them. Moreover, he couldn't get any of them to help him tailor-make a fey that was suitable for a willpower rune. Upon seeing Lin Yuan offer practical benefits, his throat moved. He couldn't refuse no matter what. When Lin Yuan saw his current state, he knew that the second layer of pie he had thrown out had already reached his psychological expectations. However, it wasn't enough for he to immediately make the decision to join Sky City. It was very normal for any faction to spend a lot of resources to recruit experts. Even those rising factions that didn't have a rich foundation would promise plenty of benefits to the King-class experts when recruiting them. Only then would the King-class experts be willing to serve the faction. Moreover, Lin Yuan was currently recruiting an Emperor-class expert with a rather outstanding main fei. Therefore, Lin Yuan was willing to pour in resources for Duan He. If Duan He could join a faction, the more resources Lin Yuan poured in for Duan He, the stronger Duan He would become. It was a win-win situation for both Duan He and Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan pondered for a moment and didn't talk nonsense with Duan He. He immediately threw out his third layer of pie. Second update, asking for monthly and recommended votes. End of this chapter. Chapter 598. I heard that Senior Duan He has been running around collecting spiritual ingredients because you have a sea demon snake among your contracted fays. I wonder if Senior's sea demon snake is still a suzerain myth six-headed sea demon snake? If it is, I'm sure that even if Senior works hard every day to collect resources, it will only be enough to deal with the six-headed sea demon snake's consumption. Senior, you might be able to advance the six-headed sea monster snake to Myth 2, but once the six-headed sea monster snake reaches Myth 2, it will grow a new head and become a seven-headed sea monster snake. A seven-headed sea demon snake needs a large amount of law power to evolve from Myth 2 to Myth 3. Where is Senior Duan He going to find the law power to evolve 7 suzerain Myth 2 phase to Myth 3? Duan He was not surprised that Lin Yuan knew his information very well. Lin Yuan was the Moon Empress disciple. As long as he wanted to know, the entire Radiance sect had no secrets to him. It was rumored that the Radiant Moon Palace's hidden moon pavilion had more secrets than the Spirit Guard's Sihan library. So far, Duan He's biggest headache was nurturing the sea demon snake. The sea demon snake had already reached the pinnacle of suzerain myth I, and Duan He had put in countless years of hard work. Duan He had not been idle at home for a single year. He had been so busy every day. At that moment, Duan He heard Lin Yuan continue to speak. Senior, if you can get a law crystal after joining Sky City, you can give it to me. I can provide you with the pure law power in the law crystal. Lin Yuan immediately threw out his third layer of pie. This was the last layer of pie that he had prepared for Lin Yuan. If Duan He still did not agree after this layer of pie was thrown out, Lin Yuan would really have no other choice. Of course, if Duan He agreed, it would be great news for Lin Yuan. On one hand, Sky City would gain a capable general and increase its high-end combat power. On the other hand, Duan He would find the law crystal and give it to Lin Yuan to obtain the pure law power. He was also working for the sacred sword-wielding queen, the sacred source lifeform that he had formed a contract with. Duan He was stunned when he heard Lin Yuan's words. After a while, he murmured in disbelief. Is what Sir said true? Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan looked at Duan He and nodded solemnly. Of course I can't lie. Upon hearing Lin Yuan's answer, Duan He immediately withdrew the 20 source-type items in his hand. He called Lin Yuan Young Master in a very straightforward manner. Young Master, may I know what kind of oath I need to make with a willpower rune to join Sky City? Duan He was overjoyed. Bronze Legend Fays weren't just within the scope of Class 5 Creation Masters, even Pinnacle Class 4 Creation Masters could do it. In that case, only Class 5 Creation Masters could purify the power of law from the law crystal. The 3 Class 5 Creation Masters, be it the Moon Empress, the Bamboo Monarch, or the Chef Supreme, were all extremely powerful. The purified rule force was all consumed internally, and not a trace of it would flow to the outside. This was also one of the reasons why every Class 5 Creation Master had such great authority and was revered by the world. Even if Emperor-class experts who were stronger than him joined a top faction, they wouldn't be able to obtain something like pure rule force. They could only comprehend the law at a deeper level by themselves when their contracted suzerain phase reached suzerain myth 2. Or they could find a law crystal of the same attribute as their contracted phase to absorb. Of course, letting a Fae absorb the energy in such a law crystal of the same attribute would never be comparable to pure rule force. Lin Yuan was offering such benefits as long as Duan He wanted to go further on the path of a combat class spirit chi professional. Duan He simply couldn't open his mouth to refuse Lin Yuan's offer. Upon hearing Duan He's straightforward agreement, Lin Yuan said, Senior, you just need to swear with a law rune and become Mayan Sky City's guardian. Senior, you just need to swear an oath with a law rune and become Mayan Sky Castle's guardian. If Lin Yuan insisted on making him a servant, Duan he wouldn't agree even if he coveted Lin Yuan's offer. If Lin Yuan insisted on making him a servant, Duan he wouldn't agree even if he coveted the pie that Lin Yuan was offering. If Lin Yuan insisted on making him a servant, Duan he wouldn't agree even if he coveted Lin Yuan's offer. This might not work for all king-class experts. However, it was an ironclad rule for Duan he. It was this ironclad rule that allowed Duan he to always weigh and choose when faced with temptations. Duan he pondered for 3 minutes before looking straight at Lin Yuan and asking, "I know what to do as your guardian. I know how to be your protector, but what about being the protector of a faction?" In Duan his eyes, Lin Yuan was the leader of Sky City's faction. As Duan his guardian, he had to listen to Lin Yuan's orders. Thus, in Duan his opinion, becoming Lin Yuan's guardian was equivalent to becoming Sky City's guardian. Upon hearing Duan his words, Lin Yuan replied bluntly, "As Sky City's guardian, you have to protect every blade of grass, every tree, and everything in Sky City, even if you die. And I can make you stronger." When Lin Yuan said this, his expression was very serious. He was not as approachable as usual. Instead, he had a superior aggressiveness. Lin Yuan had thrown out so many good things to get Duan he to join Sky City, not to raise a boss. Therefore, he had to say the ugly words first. At the same time, as Lin Yuan had grown over the past 6 months, he had a clearer understanding of this world and his own abilities. If Duan he could find enough law crystals, not to mention Lin Yuan's creation master abilities, just the sacred source lifeform, the sacred sword embracing queen, would be able to form a contract with him. It was enough to raise Duan his suzerain myth six-headed sea demon snake. If Duan he had the confidence to let the sea demon snake survive the creation tribulation, the sacred sword embracing queen could even let the 6-headed sea demon snake ascend to the creation breed, the 9-headed sea god snake. Apart from his identity as the Moon Empress disciple, Lin Yuan still had the confidence to say such words to Duan he. Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Duan he felt relieved. Since he had joined a faction, in Duan his opinion, protecting every blade of grass and tree of this faction was what a faction member should do. Duan he bent down and bowed to Lin Yuan. "Young master, I can't swear with the law rune on Star Web, but I've decided to join Sky City and become young master's guardian." 3rd. End of this chapter. Chapter 599. Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan's face revealed a sunny smile. Lin Yuan's instantaneous change made Duan he feel that although he could not see the face behind the mask, he was like a sunny youth. At that moment, Duan he heard Lin Yuan suddenly say, "I just said to protect everything in the faction and protect everything in Sky City. You're not the only one who needs to do it. I'm the same." While speaking, Lin Yuan thought of Liu Jie and Zhu Luo, who had stepped forward bravely in the evolving water world dimensional rift. Lin Yuan smiled and said softly, "I will also do my best to protect everyone in Sky City. I will also do my best to protect everyone in Sky City." Lin Yuan's voice was very soft. However, in Duan his ears, he could very well feel Lin Yuan's faith and the weight contained in these words. Although Duan he still did not understand Sky City's faction. Based on the words of Lin Yuan, who was at the helm of the faction, Duan he knew that Sky City would at least be a faction with a human touch tomorrow. Lin Yuan did not expect himself to have such a feeling. Even if it was the establishment of a faction, as the helm, he indeed had to bear more than others. Lin Yuan stood up and said to Duan he, "Senior Duan he, if you have time, come directly to the royal capital." Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Duan he stretched out his hand and awkwardly touched the stubble on his chin. "Young master, he, I want to take advantage of the active period of the dimensional rift to get more resources. My 6-headed sea demon snake and thunder wave sky rumbling snail still need half of the spiritual ingredients to promote to Myth 2. Lin Yuan brushed his hand over the huge flower of the legend gold petal peony and said with a smile, "Since you've joined Sky City, apart from the law crystals, Sky City will be responsible for the materials needed for the phase evolution." The allegiance of an Emperor-class expert was not as easy to obtain as that of a King-class expert. As long as an Emperor-class expert joined any faction, even the top factions would treat them as distinguished guests. The faction itself would be responsible for the Emperor-class expert's daily expenses. Naturally, Lin Yuan would not be stingy. Regardless of whether it was the Zheng family or the extraterritorial Divine Wood Federation's development, it was already time. With one more Emperor-class expert presiding over the royal capital, Lin Yuan would also have more bargaining chips to do things, and he would be more confident. Duan He blinked. He originally thought that his benefits were the few points that Lin Yuan had just given him. In fact, Duan He was already extremely satisfied with the pure power of the rules of order. I didn't expect Lin Yuan to be willing to bear the expenses for my phase evolution. It wasn't as if no veteran and top forces had approached him before. However, none of the veteran factions or top factions had the confidence to provide for the expenses of their phase evolution. Duan He also understood that the resources needed to support him were equivalent to supporting several Emperor-level experts at the same time. For any force, it wasn't worth it to raise themselves. Happiness came too suddenly. Thinking that he would no longer have to run around in the wind and rain, Duan He felt unprecedentedly relaxed. However, at the same time, Duan He remembered that the source-type lifeform phaseless bird that he had cultivated into a sword-plume seahawk in order to carry bricks seemed to be useless in the future. Duan He felt that it was quite good. It seemed that in the future, the sword-plume sea eagles should be trained from group attack to group control. Lin Yuan did not feel too much pressure about raising Duan He, who was a huge resource eater, in the future. Compared to Duan He's strength among same-grade experts, the resources that the sea demon snake needed to consume were not so important. In any case, the spirit lock spatial zone was constantly producing more and more Heavenly Maiden-grade elemental pearls. It just so happened that he could carry out positive consumption and use resources to enhance the strength of Sky City's top combat power. After finalizing the deal with Duan He, Lin Yuan logged off Starweb. Duan He immediately rushed to the royal capital from Indigo Azure City. With the Diamond X Fantasy V Sword Plume Seahawk speed, it would only take Duan He slightly more than a day to reach the royal capital from Indigo Azure City. It just so happened that on the third day of the Lunar New Year, Duan He would be able to arrive and sign a contract with Lin Yuan. When Lin Yuan came out of the room, the banquet was already on the table. In addition to all kinds of dishes, there was also a square jade plate with a diameter of about 1 meter in the middle of the table. There were all kinds of pastries on the plate. Only a small portion of the pastries were very dexterously made, and the various small fays were vivid and lifelike. Obviously, these lifelike ones were made by Liu Jie, and the rest of the crooked ones were made by others. After being steamed, these crooked pastries were almost indistinguishable. Chu Ci, the mother of Bloodbath, and Endless Summer were trying their best to identify which pastries they had made. However, they could not distinguish it no matter how hard they tried. When Lin Yuan saw Wen Yu, he found that her spirit, energy, and spirit had undergone an earth-shattering change. She must have finished consuming the silver stamen gold luster cassia nectar and washed away the impurities in her body. After a while, Listen and Zhu Luo also returned from outside and sat at the dining table. It could be said that now was the time when the return from faraway mansion had the most people. Every character on the feature wall was present. Lin Yuan thought for a moment and took out the large bottle of silver stamen gold luster cassia nectar that he had left in the Fey storage box before the meal. Then, he took 6 empty bowls and filled each bowl with honey syrup. He placed them in front of the mother of Bloodbath, Endless Summer, Liu Jie, Listen, Zhu Luo, and Hu Quan. Chu Ci, Wen Yu, and Lin Yuan had already consumed the silver stamen gold luster cassia nectar and washed away the impurities in their bodies. Even if Lin Yuan had a lot of silver stamen gold luster cassia nectar, he could not bear to drink such precious things casually. Money is money, but good steel must be used on the blade's edge. When Chu Ci saw the silver stamen gold luster cassia nectar that Lin Yuan had poured out, she immediately recalled what had happened after she had consumed the nectar. Just as he was about to say something, he saw that Hu Quan, who had been working on his craft, and Zhu Luo, who had just returned from outside, had already finished a bowl of silver stamen gold luster cassia nectar. After drinking the bowl of honey brew, Zhu Luo and Hu Quan couldn't help but extend their thumbs at Lin Yuan and sigh. This honey is so delicious. Where did you buy it? Wen Yu's eyelids twitched as she looked at Hu Quan and Zhu Luo, who were giving them thumbs up. For something like the silver stamen gold luster cassia nectar, no matter how much money you spent, you wouldn't even be qualified to see it. He was actually asked where he bought it. If the Leaning Moon Mountain was willing to sell this item, then the peak powers would probably start fighting over the silver stamen gold luster cassia nectar. Lin Yuan blinked. He didn't expect that they would finish the bowl of silver stamen gold luster cassia nectar while he was twisting the jar. Lin Yuan hurriedly replied, "Uncle Hu, Brother Ju, you two go to the bathroom in your room. First update, asking for monthly votes and recommendation votes." End of this chapter. Chapter 600. Before Lin Yuan could finish speaking, Zhu Luo and Hu Quan had already run to their rooms. Liu Jie looked at the bowl full of amber-colored liquid, and he recognized what was inside the bowl. When the insect queen was in danger, the bamboo monarch had given him a drop of silver auspicious gold luster cassia nectar. Although this drop of silver stamen gold luster cassia nectar couldn't heal the insect queen's damaged foundation, it was enough to help the insect queen stall for a year. Otherwise, the insect queen would have died before Liu Jie could meet Lin Yuan. If that were the case, there wouldn't be a new student like Liu Jie. To the mother of Bloodbath and Endless Summer, who were already myth-breed phase, the silver stamen gold luster cassia nectar was even more beneficial. The secret of the silver stamen gold luster cassia nectar cleansing the body's impurities was mainly to upgrade the genetic model, allowing the genetic model to reach the most perfect state. As compared to humans, phase genes were much more complicated. The mother of Bloodbath, Endless Summer, and Liu Jie returned to their rooms after drinking the silver stamen gold luster cassia nectar. Lin Yuan felt a little awkward. If he had known earlier, he would have taken out the silver stamen gold luster cassia nectar after the meal. Only he, Chu Ci, and when you were left sitting at the table during the reunion dinner. After eating, Lin Yuan took out the 2 pots of golden petal peonies and placed them beside the water rhinoceros leather sofa. Hu Quan had already made them but had not used them. The glow-winged butterflies resting in the spirit-containing hibiscus on the red sandalwood longevity fish tank all flew up after sensing the aura of the peony. It danced around the bronze legend golden petals peony. The glow-winged butterfly was usually very lazy at night. If it could not fly, it would absolutely not fly. Now with these 2 pots of golden peonies, the glow-winged butterfly became as lively at night as it was during the day. He knew that these glow-winged butterflies were also craving the golden peonis pollen. The 2 bronze legend golden petaled peonies had a lot of pollen, and even though the Vajra butterfly had become a fantasy breed, it would not be able to consume all of it. Lin Yuan did not continue to stop these glow-winged butterflies from picking the golden peonis pollen. The more Lin Yuan looked at these fluttering glow-winged butterflies, the more he felt that there was something wrong with one of them. When this glow-winged butterfly fluttered, the other glow-winged butterflies instinctively avoided it by half a meter. Just as Lin Yuan was about to use true data to check this glow-winged butterfly's attributes, Chu Ci said, "Lin Yuan, I'm done eating. I'll wait for you in the training room." As soon as Lin Yuan heard that, he no longer cared about this rather unusual glow-winged butterfly. Instead, he said directly, "Let's go together after I'm done eating. Before I go, I'll collect the metal and wood dual attribute pollen that the Vajra butterfly needs to advance into a fantasy breed." After saying that, Lin Yuan took out a wooden box and gently patted each of the blooming peonies. He collected the pollen from each peony into a box. The golden pollen was full of vitality and covered the bottom of the box. He took the box and pulled Chu Ci toward the training room. So far, Chu Ci's phase could be said to have been created by Lin Yuan. Therefore, he was looking forward to the exclusive skill that would appear after the Vajra butterfly became a fantasy breed. As for the burning sunflower, Lin Yuan didn't have any expectations. This was because the burning sunflower was a fairy source-type lifeform, and its abilities were enough to construct Chu Ci's combat system. In Lin Yuan's opinion, what kind of exclusive skills and characteristics would appear would just be icing on the cake. In the training room, Lin Yuan summoned the bronze legend Vajra butterfly. The bronze legend Vajra butterfly had stayed with Lin Yuan for a long time. As soon as it saw Chu Ci, it immediately flew to her side. It flew back and forth intimately around Chu Ci. Sometimes, it would stop between Chu Ci's fingers, and sometimes, it would stop at the tip of her nose, making her giggle. Lin Yuan had also contracted a butterfly species lifeform, and it was qualified to compete for the top 10 most beautiful phase, the blue flash purple butterfly. However, the blue flash purple butterfly was usually very cold. Although Lin Yuan could feel the deep fetters the blue flash purple butterfly had on him, it usually did not interact with him. In Lin Yuan's opinion, the only thing in the world that could make the blue flash purple butterfly enthusiastic was probably the jasmine lily. It had been half a year since the blue flash purple butterfly hatched from its cocoon, and Lin Yuan had single-handedly raised it. However, he had no clue about the blue flash purple butterfly's willpower rune that was suitable for all his phase. He recalled that Chu Si had looked at the Vajra butterfly and comprehended a willpower rune suitable for the Vajra butterfly. He planned to stare at the blue flash purple butterfly whenever he had the time and see if he could comprehend a willpower rune that was suitable for the blue flash purple butterfly. After playing with the Vajra butterfly for a while, Chu Si summoned the willpower rune she had comprehended from the Vajra butterfly. This was not the first time Lin Yuan had seen this willpower rune. This willpower rune gave off an abnormally heavy feeling, as if it was a sturdy shield. However, behind this heavy feeling, there seemed to be an indomitable aura hidden. Lin Yuan faintly felt that this willpower rune exuded a faintly discernible sense of recklessness. Lin Yuan placed the wooden box of dual attribute pollen on the table in the training room and said to Chu Si, "Don't worry." He said to Chu Si, "Let the Vajra butterfly suck the dual attribute pollen in the wooden box until you feel that the Vajra butterfly can't suck anymore. Use your willpower rune to combine with the Vajra butterfly and let it evolve into a fantasy breed." This was not the first time Chu Si had a fantasy breed fae, but compared to the previous time, she was even more nervous this time. After embarking on the path of a spirit chi professional, Chu Si, who was usually obsessed with combat training, understood the importance of exclusive skills and ability combinations better than her peers. Although Chu Si was nervous, she did not panic at all when commanding the Vajra butterfly. When the Vajra butterfly absorbed a small portion of the pollen in the wooden box, its abdomen had already swelled up. A layer of golden halo kept spreading from its abdomen, dyeing the Vajra butterfly's body, which was originally cyan steel, with a faint layer of gold. Chu Si sensed the Vajra butterfly's state. The moment the Vajra butterfly's body was completely dyed with gold, she controlled the willpower rune to meet the Vajra butterfly. The Vajra butterfly combined with this heavy willpower rune that hid an indomitable aura. In an instant, a layer of dense metallic halo lit up. Immediately after, Lin Yuan saw this dense metallic halo constantly shrink. Suddenly, a layer of green, watery luster lit up in the center of the metallic halo. The moment this layer of green watery luster lit up, Lin Yuan's heart was at ease. It seemed that there were no problems in the process of the Vajra butterfly becoming a fantasy breed. The second was even better. End of this chapter. Chapter 601. Lin Yuan had been a little worried at the beginning that Chu Si's Vajra butterfly would not evolve in the direction of the jadeite butterfly. If the Vajra butterfly wanted to evolve in the direction of the jadeite butterfly, there were requirements in the combination of willpower runes. The willpower rune needed to have the verdant intent comprehended from plants. However, Chu Si's willpower rune had been comprehended from observing the Vajra butterfly itself. To Chu Si, the willpower rune comprehended from the Vajra butterfly was undoubtedly the most suitable for the Vajra butterfly itself. Now that the Vajra butterfly was still evolving in the direction of the jadeite butterfly, it was a cause for celebration. Lin Yuan had chosen the metalwood dual attribute pollen to match Chu Si's metal-textured willpower rune. It was also because the wood attribute in the pollen could replace the touch of verdant intent in the willpower rune during the Vajra butterfly's evolution. It would have a positive impact during the Vajra butterfly's metamorphosis and evolution. Before Lin Yuan could compose himself for 10 seconds, a voice suddenly rang out. Just as the emerald green radiance was about to expand, the yellow radiance suddenly pierced through the emerald green radiance. The yellow light kept expanding, dispersing the outer metal luster in the blink of an eye. Lin Yuan shook his head. Due to the willpower rune, the Vajra butterfly had not completely evolved in the direction of the jadeite butterfly. However, The emerald light at the beginning showed that the Vajra butterfly was indeed evolving in the direction of the jadeite butterfly at the beginning. The current process could be said to be a mutation in the process of the Vajra butterfly's evolution into the jadeite butterfly. As the yellow, watery luster shimmered, it suddenly became transparent. This kind of permeability was very similar to the permeability of high-quality yellow jades. At that moment, a palm-sized yellow butterfly flew out of the halo and landed directly between Chu Xi's fingers. Lin Yuan saw that this yellow butterfly's body was full of moisture, and every part of its body seemed to be carved from lustrous jade. There were also many golden patterns on the light wings. Upon closer inspection, these patterns somewhat resembled the flowers of a peony with golden petals. If the previous Vajra butterfly looked like an ordinary piece of steel, then the current Vajra butterfly was a precious jade that would fascinate people just by looking at it. When he had checked the Vajra butterfly's evolution plan, he had seen the emerald jade butterfly's image. The only difference between the Vajra butterfly and the jadeite butterfly, which was a fantasy breed, was its color and the additional peony patterns on its body. From the quality of the wings, Lin Yuan was certain that his previous thoughts were correct. The Vajra butterfly had indeed mutated on the path of evolving into the jade butterfly. He did not guess too much and used Morbius true data to check the attributes of the Vajra butterfly after it had become a fantasy breed. Fey name, yellow jade golden butterfly, spirit species, chrysalis chrysalis, Fey grade, bronze, 10/10, Fey type, metal, Fey quality, fantasy eye skills sad smiley wing block, condenses a hard metal on the wings to block. When blocking, there is a certain chance that the blocked force will be reflected back. Gold jade shield, quickly attaches to the target and condenses a solid yellow jade shield that can follow the target's movements. Exclusive skill sad smiley counterattack tremor, when attacked, a portion of the damage will be reflected back in the form of an energy tremor, regardless of whether it is a physical attack or a magical attack. Shield explosion counterattack, shatter all the shields on the target and condense the greatest attack that the shield can withstand into one strike, causing huge damage. After checking the attributes, Lin Yuan found that the Vajra butterfly's name had become the yellow jade golden butterfly. Its quality had also changed from the previous legend to fantasy eye. When he looked at the normal wing block, Lin Yuan found that the wing block, which originally only had a defensive effect, could now block damage. There was also a certain chance that the damage received would be reflected. It could be said that just this damage reflection effect made the yellow jade golden butterfly's normal wing block undergo an earth-shattering change. However, Lin Yuan's heart suddenly rang loudly. He felt that the damage reflection ability was a prelude to recklessness no matter how he looked at it. When he saw the yellow jade golden butterfly become a fantasy breed and its new exclusive skill, shield explosion counterattack, Lin Yuan could not help but hold his forehead with his hand. He finally knew what was going on with the sharpness behind the shield-like heavy feeling in the willpower rune that Chu Ci had comprehended. The exclusive skill, shield explosion counterattack, directly shattered all the shields and converted the shield's original damage resistance into attack power to launch a powerful blow. It was equivalent to sacrificing all the defensive abilities of a defense-type spirit chi professional and instantly becoming a power offense-type spirit chi professional. Moreover, the stronger the defense-type spirit chi professional, the more outstanding their attack power would be. As Lin Yuan watched the evolved yellow jade golden butterfly flutter in front of Chu Ci, he only felt more and more angry. He did not know whether Chu Ci's willpower had determined the yellow jade golden butterfly's evolution direction. Or was it the yellow jade golden butterfly's evolution fulfilling Chu Ci's wish? Lin Yuan felt that compared to him, an all-around spirit chi professional who wore the skin of a healing-type spirit chi professional, Chu Ci was more like a combat-type spirit chi professional. At this moment, Chu Ci was more like a combat-type spirit chi professional who wore the skin of a defense-type spirit chi professional. At this moment, he should be able to declare his Iron Bucket Sisters transformation plan bankrupt. The previous 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and 3 o'clock had all been implemented very well. However, after Fine Steel became a yellow jadeite golden butterfly, all of his plans were put on hold. Even Lin Yuan's plan to modify the Iron Bucket's younger sister had died before he could implement it at 4 o'clock p.m. However, Lin Yuan had to admit that even if his plan to transform his iron bucket sister failed, he would not be able to do so. The Vajra butterfly's exclusive skill, shield explosion counterattack, was definitely powerful. In fact, just the exclusive skill, shield explosion counterattack, had established Chu Xi's combat system as a defense-type spirit chi professional. The jadeite golden butterfly and the luminous iron wild bull were Chu Xi's contracted phase. The obsidian iron wild bull was reckless in the open, the yellow jadeite golden butterfly was reckless in secret, and Chu Xi was reckless in her heart. Lin Yuan simply did not know how to ridicule Chu Xi's boorish combination. Unlike Lin Yuan's melancholy, the more she looked at the yellow jadeite golden butterfly, the more she liked it. He could feel the yellow jadeite golden butterfly's second exclusive skill, shield explosion counterattack. Chu Xi felt that there was simply no exclusive skill more suitable for her than the shield detonation counterattack. Chu Xi said to Lin Yuan after thinking for a moment. Lin Yuan, I need to choose more phase with shield-type abilities in the future. The third one. End of chapter. Chapter 602. Lin Yuan understood Chu Xi, so he understood why she had such an idea after hearing what she said. Chu Xi had such thoughts because she had sensed the yellow jadeite golden butterfly's exclusive skill, shield explosion. However, Chu Xi knew that as a girl, she had to protect herself. Even if it was for the sake of recklessness, Lin Yuan was still rather gratified. Lin Yuan looked at the yellow jadeite golden butterfly and said to Chu Xi, "Why don't I help you directly upgrade the yellow jadeite golden butterfly from Bronze X Fantasy I to Silver? This way, the yellow jadeite golden butterfly will also have an additional silver skill." Chu Xi shook her head and stuck out her tongue. "Little Wing has just become a fantasy breed. I want to do some actual combat on Star Web before advancing Little Wing's grade." Chu Xi was a practical fighter. She liked to train her Fey abilities and exclusive skills through actual combat. Lin Yuan nodded and looked at the peony patterns on the yellow jadeite golden butterfly's wings. At this level, the peony pattern on the yellow jadeite golden butterfly had not shown any effect yet. It only existed as a kind of decoration. However, after a Fey underwent a metamorphosis, every obvious change on its body wouldn't be that simple. Just like when Chimey had evolved into the Streamcloud Azure Bird, the cloud patterns that appeared on its body only showed their effects when it evolved into the Twilight Starbird. The peony pattern on the yellow jadeite golden butterfly should have the same effect as the cloud pattern on Chimus wings. However, he could not help but ridicule her naming ability in his heart. The obsidian iron wild bull was called Little Iron Nugget, and the yellow jade golden butterfly was called Little Wings. In Lin Yuan's opinion, the obsidian iron wild bull might as well be called Black Dazhuang. As for the yellow jadeite golden butterfly, who had deceived his feelings, Lin Yuan expressed that he was too lazy to waste his brain cells to give it a name. Now that the emerald jade butterfly had completed its evolution, he wanted to let Chu Xi contract the fairy source-type lifeform, the burning sunflower. Lin Yuan raised his hand, and a coconut-sized, dark green cactus appeared in his hand. The spikes on the dark green cactus were not hard, and they would bend when pressed hard. Moreover, these spikes weren't prickly when held in his hands. They just looked a little scary. Black and red marks appeared on the dark green skin of the cactus. It was as if the dark green skin had been burned and corroded by a dark red substance, forming many scars on the surface. The body of the burning sunflower, which was shaped like a cactus ball, didn't look very beautiful. However, the two large flower buds on the top of the ball were faintly revealing scarlet petals that were exceptionally bright. It was as if it would blossom as soon as a condition was met. Lin Yuan placed the burning sunflower in front of Chu Xi. This is a fairy source-type lifeform. Its abilities are very compatible with your obsidian iron wild bull's silver abilities. You said that the obsidian iron wild bull's silver skills aren't easy to use. You don't have to worry about that now that you have the burning sunflower. Chu Xi looked at the cactus-shaped object and thought it was just an ordinary plant fey. However, he did not expect it to be a source-type lifeform. Although Chu Xi had become Tsungyue's disciple, she spent most of her time training and improving her strength. He hadn't really broadened his horizons. Thus, She had never seen a fairy source-type lifeform known as a source-item aristocrat. However, Chu Si knew that source-type items had to meet certain requirements before they could be contracted. He asked Lin Yuan, "Lin Yuan, what do I need to do to contract the fairy source-type burning sunflower?" Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan placed the burning sunflower in her hand and said, "That's right. You can directly enter the contract. You don't need to do anything." Upon hearing that, she looked at the burning sunflower in her hand and understood that Lin Yuan must have dealt with this fairy source-type lifeform. Otherwise, ordinary source-type items would not have such a bronze phase aura. Chu Si was not a creation master and could not understand the contract conditions of the burning sunflower. He did not understand what was so special about the burning sunflower that had the aura of a bronze fae. However, she knew that no matter what, her brother was always silently behind her back, thinking about his own life and helping him pave the way forward step by step. Chu Si stretched out her hand and pressed her palm on the surface of the burning sunflower's thorns. He activated his mental energy and formed a contract with the burning sunflower. As Chu Si used her mental energy to contract the burning sunflower, Lin Yuan saw that the dark red scars on the burning sunflower's body suddenly caved in. A large amount of crimson flames gushed out from within these scars. The moment these flames gushed out, Lin Yuan immediately felt like he was being roasted. It caused Lin Yuan to take 2 steps back. The crimson flames that gushed out of the burning sunflower's body were extremely invasive and completely engulfed the burning sunflower's body surface in the blink of an eye. The soft thorns on the burning sunflower's surface immediately became as red as blood after coming into contact with the crimson flames. Soon, the dark green plant-like flesh on the burning sunflower's surface was burned to nothing. Only the frame that was formed by the blood-red thorns was left. There was also a thin layer of crimson flames on the frame that formed a flame yarn. The 2 huge red flowers on the top had already bloomed the moment the scar collapsed. However, the crimson red flowers were not like ordinary flowers, where every petal was in full bloom. Instead, the petals at the top kept curling inwards, and a few curled petals combined as if forming a shed. The petals at the bottom frantically extended downwards and were more than 3 times longer than the petals growing above. These slender petals that grew from the bottom combined and formed a hammock shape. Crimson flames gushed out of the flower's center, making the entire flower look even redder and more crystalline. At that moment, a small figure was born in each of the flames at the center of the 2 flowers. It took less than 3 seconds for the figure to turn from transparent to solid. Lin Yuan saw that the 2 palm-sized figures had long, flame-like hair. They had pointed ears, jade-like skin, and every crimson pattern on their body was burning with a thin layer of flame yarn. These flame yarns also formed the clothes of the little fairies that were born in the flames. Lin Yuan knew that these 2 little fairies born in the burning sunflower should be the burning sunflower Gemini. This was also why the burning sunflower was called a fairy source-type lifeform. At that moment, a layer of crimson flames lingered around Chu Si's body, but she was not affected by the flames at all. Instead, the yellow jadeite golden butterfly put a layer of golden jadeite shield on her body to resist the corrosion of the scorching flames on her body. The first was even worse. End of this chapter. Chapter 603. Looking at the flames lingering around Chu Si, Lin Yuan knew that this was the fire elemental immunity she had after contracting the fairy source-type burning sunflower. Not far away from Chu Si was a bronze epic usnea. This bronze epic usnea had been specially enhanced by Lin Yuan for Chimey. Compared to the platinum celery vine that Chimey had been eating, it preferred the taste of the usnea. Therefore, Lin Yuan had conveniently placed this bronze epic usnea in the training room as a decoration. Apart from Chimey, some omnivorous fays in the mansion, including Genius, would occasionally come to eat some leaves on the usnea vines. However, the leaves on the side of this bronze epic usnea that was close to Chu Si were constantly shriveling. Upon seeing this, Lin Yuan hurriedly moved the bronze epic usnea in front of him. He took a piece of shriveled usnea leaf and saw that the originally plump and juicy usnea leaf had actually become a little shriveled. Lin Yuan had specially picked this usnea because its exclusive skill, Energy Juice, had appeared after reaching bronze. The exclusive skill, Energy Juice, was considered the most optimal exclusive skill that the Usnias had evolved to make themselves more delicious. This was also the reason why this Usnia was qualified to be evolved to Bronze Epic by Lin Yuan. With energy juice, the Usnia's leaves were especially plump and had a water-locking function that was far superior to ordinary Usnias. Obviously, the thin and shriveled leaves were not only caused by the high temperature. Lin Yuan used true data to check on the burning sunflower that Chu Si had just contracted. Fei name, burning sunflower, Fei species, apricot Gemini, Fei grade, normal, 1/10, Fei type, spiritual source, Fei quality, normal abilities sad smiley burning flame, increases the temperature of the burning sunflower Gemini's flames, and the flames have the effect of stripping away the water hidden in the depths. Lin Yuan's expression froze when he checked. The burning sunflower's normal ability, burning flame, could be considered a kind of enhancement to the burning sunflower Gemini's flames. At the same time, the flames around the burning sunflower Gemini also had the effect of stripping away the water hidden in the target's body. Lin Yuan did not attach much importance to the enhancement of the flames, as the burning sunflower's flame's temperature increase was itself a double-edged sword. While hurting the enemy, he was also hurting himself. However, the burning sunflower flame's effect of stripping away the moisture hidden deep within her body had little effect on her. First of all, as the burning sunflower's contractor, she was immune to its damage. The silver fantasy obsidian iron wild bull was a lump of iron, even though its body could be injured. However, the obsidian iron wild bull's skin had been metallized a long time ago due to its constant consumption of metal. The obsidian iron wild bull was very resistant to the burning sunflower's flames, which stripped away the moisture in its body. For other fays, as long as they did not have a metallic skin like the obsidian iron wild bull, their skin would crack when the moisture was removed. If they were roasted by the burning sunflower's flames for a long time, even if they were not burnt by the flames, they would still die. When fays moved intensely during combat, their skin might be dehydrated, causing their muscles to tear. He felt that such an effect was even more vicious than some poison-type fays' toxic abilities. After Chu Si contracted the burning sunflower, she was overjoyed. He summoned the obsidian iron wild bull with a wave of his hand. He patted its neck and said, "Don't worry. Little iron chunk, you'll have another good partner in the future." Lin Yuan's eyelids twitched wildly. It's true that they're partners, but are they really good partners? After you have the burning sunflower, the obsidian iron wild bull will have to be prepared to be possessed by the burning sunflower and become a roasted cow. Lin Yuan, I feel that after contracting the burning sunflower, I seem to know how to structure my combat system. As Chu Si spoke, the burning sunflower Gemini that were born from the flames also opened their eyes. After opening their eyes, the burning sunflower Gemini immediately kissed Chu Si on the left and right. Then, they sat firmly on Chu Si's shoulder. Fairy source-type lifeforms were favored by spirit chi professionals because they were very strong. On the other hand, it was because fairy source-type lifeforms were far more intelligent than other source-type lifeforms when they were contracted. Looking at the burning sunflower Gemini's behavior and the look in their eyes, this statement was indeed true. The burning sunflower Gemini's small hands were already constantly emitting sparks, which burned and exploded and made sounds. Lin Yuan found that the burning sunflower Gemini were already using his conversation with Chu Si. They began to use the sound of the flames to simulate and learn the language. Chu Si liked the burning sunflower Gemini very much. Whether it was their appearance or their small humanoid appearance, it was very easy for people to have a good impression of the burning sunflower Gemini. Moreover, the burning sunflower Gemini had learned how to act coquettishly to female spirit chi professionals in their mother's womb. Chu Si, sit over there for a while. I'll help you raise the burning sunflower's grade. Later, you can choose an exclusive skill suitable for your bronze burning sunflower's combat system. When Chu Si heard that Lin Yuan was going to enhance the burning sunflower, she hurriedly waited at the side for fear of disturbing him. Lin Yuan looked at Chu Si hurriedly leaving and touched the back of his head. Other creation masters were afraid of disturbing, but Lin Yuan was not. Lin Yuan felt that Chu Si had misunderstood his meaning. He was just afraid that Chu Si would feel bored staying here. It was better to sit at the side for a while or bring the obsidian iron wild bull and the newly promoted fantasy breed yellow jadeite golden butterfly to familiarize themselves with each other. Lin Yuan took a deep breath and began to enhance the burning sunflower Gemini. In just a few minutes, the burning sunflower Gemini had been enhanced to elite by Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan looked at the burning sunflower Gemini's elite ability, distorted heat wave. The heat wave distortion was considered a defense-type ability. It was equivalent to a layer of high-temperature shield, and the energy in the high temperature offset the damage received to form a defensive effect. It was considered a very suitable ability for Chu Xi's combat style. Lin Yuan continued to enhance the burning sunflower. When the burning sunflower Gemini's grade was raised to elite epic, Lin Yuan increased the speed of spirit chi conduction. He increased the speed of spirit chi conduction, allowing the burning sunflower Gemini to evolve from elite epic to bronze. Lin Yuan found that he was even more nervous when enhancing Chu Xi's phase than when he was enhancing them. Lin Yuan did not immediately let Chu Xi come over after promoting the burning sunflower to bronze. Instead, he enhanced the burning sunflower to bronze X epic before waving at Chu Xi in the distance. Chu Xi immediately ran over. When Chu Xi ran to his side, Lin Yuan checked the 3 exclusive skills that had appeared after promoting the burning sunflower to bronze. End of this chapter. Chapter 604. The 3 exclusive skills that appeared after reaching bronze were Sad Smiley Surging Flames. The burning sunflower Gemini fuses together, instantly releasing all of the fire energy stored within the burning sunflower, dealing damage to all targets on the field. Gemini Enchantment. The burning sunflower Gemini can be attached to an item, adding the effects of the burning sunflower Gemini's own flames to the item, and the attached target will not be affected by the burning sunflower Gemini's flames. Gemini Protection. When the burning sunflower Gemini attaches itself to the target, it will burn away the target's life force and store the life force in the gem on its forehead. When attached to a target, it can inject the stored life force into the target's body. Upon seeing these 3 exclusive skills, Lin Yuan first excluded the Surging Heat Wave. In Lin Yuan's opinion, the exclusive skill, Surging Heat Wave, was considered a kind of burning sunflower's high-burst attack method, so its damage was naturally needless to say. However, this surging flame was not an ordinary eruption method. This was because the target of the surging flames was not just the enemy units, but everyone present. If Chu Xi chose this exclusive skill, she would probably not be able to escape the fate of being a star web host, Poison Beauty. No one would dare to team up with her again. As for the Gemini Enchantment and Gemini Guard, Lin Yuan was undoubtedly more inclined to the Gemini Guard. The Gemini Protector was equivalent to giving Chu Xi a portable blood bag. Moreover, it could be used on all of her phase, including the Obsidian Iron Wild Bull. Gemini Guard was equivalent to strengthening the Obsidian Iron Wild Bull's pain absorption and annihilation gaze. When he saw the burning sunflower's exclusive skill, Gemini Guard, Lin Yuan felt that his plan to transform his broken sister into a metal bucket hadn't completely failed. Because the Gemini Care had allowed the burning sunflower to make a guest appearance as a healing-type fae, it was the same as adding a layer of flames to Chu Xi's reflective iron bucket. He also added healing abilities internally. This allowed Chu Xi, a boorish fellow who wore the skin of a defense-type spirit chi professional, to have the ability to fight continuously. Even if the burning sunflower was actually a pyromaniac, and the healing ability was just a side effect. However, just this little bit of healing ability was enough to give her fighting prowess a qualitative change. Chu Xi checked the burning sunflower's 3 exclusive skills and said to Lin Yuan with certainty, "Lin Yuan, I want to choose Gemini Care." Lin Yuan had been a little hesitant at first. Although Gemini Care was very suitable for her, Gemini Enchantment was not bad either. If the burning sunflower Gemini could be enchanted on the Obsidian Iron Wild Bull's horns, it would undoubtedly increase the Obsidian Iron Wild Bull's combat power. However, Lin Yuan had not expected that Chu Xi's choice of the burning sunflower would be so clear and decisive. Chu Xi confirmed the burning sunflower's exclusive skill. Lin Yuan used true data to check the burning sunflower's current attributes. Fey name, burning sunflower, spirit species, apricot Gemini, Fey grade, bronze, 10/10, Fey type, spiritual source, fey quality, epic skills sad smiley scorching flame, increases the temperature of the burning sunflower Gemini's flames, and the flames have the effect of removing the moisture hidden deep within. Distorted heat wave, when the burning sunflower Gemini attaches itself to a target, it will form a high-temperature heat wave around the target. When the heat wave takes damage, it will cancel out the energy within the heat wave to protect the target. Exclusive skill sad smiley Gemini protection, when the burning sunflower Gemini attaches itself to the target, it will take away the target's vitality through burning and store the vitality in the gem on the forehead. When it attaches itself to a target, it can inject the stored vitality into the target's body. Looking at the Bronze X Epic Burning Sunflower's attributes, Lin Yuan did not expect that the burning sunflower, which he had thought would not bring any surprises, would actually bring him a great surprise. Instead, it brought him a great surprise. After this Fey enhancement, Chu Xi's strength had increased by leaps and bounds, but this was not what Lin Yuan valued the most. What Lin Yuan valued was that Chu Xi had already faintly formed a combat system at this stage. Lin Yuan instructed Chu Xi, sleep early tonight. I still have to go to the venue to watch the All-Star match tomorrow morning. Then he left the training room. Chu Xi excitedly started to practice the cooperation between the obsidian iron wild bull, the yellow jadeite golden butterfly, and the burning sunflower Gemini in the training room. Lin Yuan returned to his room, leaned on the bed, and picked up his cell phone to check the messages. He found that the group chat with Zhong Xiaobai, Xin Ying, Lu Pinru, and Tan Ran had been silent for the past few days. No one had sent any messages in the group chat since 3 days ago. The Extreme Guild Club's competition had clearly been held 4 days ago. He had also talked with Zhong Xiaobai, Xin Ying, Lu Pinru, and Tan Ran about the situation of the Extreme Guild Club's competition against the Barbarian Snake Guild Club. Lin Yuan looked at Zhong Xiaobai's moments again. He saw that Zhong Xiaobai, who had always been flooding his moments, had not posted anything since he had posted a match cheer 4 days ago. Lin Yuan did not have many friends, so he was more attentive to them. The attentive Lin Yuan knew that Zhong Xiaobai, Xin Ying, Lu Pinru, and Tan Ran should have encountered some problems. According to the time, the problem they had encountered was likely related to the Barbarian Snake Guild Club's competition. Lin Yuan was already lying on the bed. He looked at the time, sat up, and called Zhong Xiaobai. Just as he dialed, Lin Yuan only heard the number you have dialed is not available. Lin Yuan then called Xin Ying, Lu Pinru, and Tan Ran in turn and found the same situation. Lin Yuan suddenly remembered that Zhong Xiaobai had said in the previous chat. Zhong Xiaobai, Xin Ying, and the others were members of the reserve team. Therefore, they were required to turn off their cell phones every night when they had a mock competition with the home team members, for fear of affecting the training of the home team members. When he had heard the rules, Lin Yuan could guess that the Extreme Guild Club's treatment of the reserve team members was not very good. Lin Yuan had even sensed something when he, Zhong Xiaobai, Xin Ying, Lu Pinru, and Tan Ran had teamed up to collect the Jade Unicorn Viper's venom. This was because Zhong Xiaobai and the others were originally helping the club's home team members to collect spiritual ingredients. The remuneration they received was comparable to that of a normal Jade Unicorn Viper's venom. Furthermore, according to the team's rules, as a healing-type spirit chi professional, he had to take a portion of the remuneration from Zhong Xiaobai and the others. Tomorrow was the All-Star match, and the Extreme Guild Club, a B-class club, was also invited to attend. As reserve team members, Zhong Xiaobai, Xin Ying, Lu Pinru, and Tan Ran should also attend. Third, end of this chapter. Chapter 605. When the time came, he would just have to ask him face to face. Lin Yuan knew that Zhong Xiaobai, Xin Ying, Tan Ran, and Lu Pinru were all strong-willed and would not easily speak up if they were in trouble. However, if a friend who had faced life and death with him was in trouble, he would take the initiative to help even if no one mentioned it. The meeting room of Dragon Gate Guild Club was brightly lit. Even during the new year, none of the Dragon Gate Guild Club members, from the main team members to the reserve team members, were absent. A few members of the reserve team sat up straight in their seats, their eyes shining brightly. He was obviously expecting something. On the other hand, a young girl was lazily lying on the table in the conference room, her hands under the table rubbing her stomach from time to time. The young man with a watermelon haircut next to the girl curled his lips and whispered, "Zhao Xiaochun, didn't I just eat barbecue with you? That's 30 whole roasted pig trotters, and all I got was a roasted corn. Even if you're not full, you don't have to act like you're hungry." Zhao Xiaochun rolled her eyes at Fang Duoduo and continued rubbing her stomach. After a while, she said weakly, "Fang Duoduo, you're really inhuman. Not only did you not fight to pay for a meal with a beautiful girl, but you even ate a roasted corn. If I could eat one more roasted corn, I might be full." Fang Duoduo stared at Zhao Xiaochun, dumbfounded. Was she speaking human language? At this moment, Fang Duoduo suddenly understood what Zhao Xiaochun had said to him in the evening. "Accompany me for dinner." What did that mean? He felt that he had drawn the wrong point. The point was not to eat, but to accompany. He only needed to watch Zhao Xiaochun eat and accompany her the whole time. However, Fang Duoduo felt that even if he ate with Zhao Xiaochun, eating a roasted corn wouldn't be considered too much. In any case, even if he gave Zhao Xiaochun 50 more roasted corn, Zhao Xiaochun would still be dead. Long Dao sat on the main seat and could naturally hear the conversation between Fang Duoduo and Zhao Xiaochun. Long Dao helplessly patted the table and said, "All right, I'll make arrangements for tomorrow's all-star match. If you haven't eaten your fill, you can go to Muxiang Residence tonight to try Muxiang Residence's signature dried pot beef ribs. Muxiang Residence's buffet is quite comprehensive and delicious." Fang Duoduo looked at Long Dao and blinked twice. She didn't know how the boss of Muxiang House had provoked Long Dao. If Zhao Xiaochun went to eat, wouldn't she bankrupt Muxiang House's buffet restaurant? It wasn't easy for the capital to have a buffet restaurant. When Zhao Xiaochun heard this, her eyes immediately lit up. He asked Long Dao, "Muxiang House? Why haven't I heard of it before? Where's the address?" Hearing Zhao Xiaochun's deadly 3 questions, Fang Duoduo could only let the owner of Muxiang Residence pray for his own good. Long Dao picked up his phone, pressed it twice, and waved it at Zhao Xiaochun. "I have already sent the address of Muxiangju to the group chat." Zhao Xiaochun immediately picked up her phone and her eyes lit up. She no longer looked weak and hungry. Fang Duoduo was also checking the address of Muxiang Residence in the group chat. However, Fang Duoduo couldn't figure out what kind of yin-yang medicine Long Dao was selling in his yin-yang gourd. Long Dao coughed and said seriously, "The All-Star competition starts off as an exhibition match. As an A Guild Club, our Dragon Gate Guild Club can't escape from the exhibition match. Plenty will be leading the team this time. Xiaochun and I won't be participating. You 3 main team members and 2 reserve team members will do." Fang Duoduo hurriedly replied, "Roger, Captain." Compared to the regular S tournament, the All-Star competition was more like a large-scale carnival. Therefore, during the duels between the various teams, they would usually choose to hide their crucial trump cards and display the magnificence of high-grade phase abilities. This wasn't Fang Duoduo's first time leading an all-star exhibition team. At this time, Fang Duoduo was looking at the 5 reserve team members and calculating. When Zhao Xiaochun heard that she didn't need to go on stage for the all-star exhibition, she was extremely excited. He rolled his eyes and said to Long Dao, "Captain, since I'm not needed for the exhibition match, I'm sure I won't be needed for the coaching match either. Why don't I take this opportunity to take a break and explore the shops?" When Long Dao heard Zhao Xiaochun's words, his face darkened. Even if Long Dao was a hermaphrodite, there was nothing he could do to someone like Zhao Xiaochun, who only cared about food. "I can't, but after the all-star competition ends tomorrow, I'll treat you guys to a big meal." Zhao Xiaochun, who had lost interest when she heard that she couldn't go to the store, immediately raised her hand in response when she heard that Long Dao was going to treat her in the evening. "Tomorrow is the all-star match. I don't want to eat too much tonight. In a bit, I'll go to Muxiangji and have a taste. If it's delicious, let's go to Muxiang Pavilion for a feast tomorrow night." Hearing Zhao Xiaochun mention the Muxiang Pavilion, the gaze Long Dao looked at Zhao Xiaochun with suddenly became somewhat strange. But then Long Dao nodded and said, "Then we'll listen to Xiaochun and go to Muxiang Pavilion for a meal tomorrow. As for the challenge match and the coaching match facing the audience, It's not convenient for us 4 main members to participate since we're all members of the 100 sequence. Why don't our phone go up? Chen Hongfeng hurriedly stood up and said. Captain, I won't embarrass our Dragon Gate Guild Club. Long Dao named Chen Hongfeng as the candidate for the challenge and coaching match with the lucky audience, making the remaining 4 Dragon Gate Guild Club reserve members extremely envious. But thinking that Chen Hongfeng had already been confirmed by Long Dao to participate in the quarterfinals, the 4 reserve members had nothing to compare. It could be said that Chen Hongfeng's status was already a level higher than that of the reserve members. It was very likely that he would be promoted to the main member of the Dragon Gate Guild Club next year. Long Dao heard Chen Hongfeng's promise and said, Your smooth-toothed elephant lizard's rank and quality have also been raised to Gold X Epic. Although it hasn't awakened its dragon-type bloodline, it's only a step away from it. The huge-tailed swamp lizard has also reached Gold X Epic. After this all-star match, I'll help you find someone to raise the huge-tailed swamp lizard from Gold X Epic to Legendary. It'll also put the willpower rune you comprehended to use. Chen Hongfeng heard the meaning behind Long Dao's words and hurriedly said, Thank you, Captain. The smooth-toothed elephant lizard swallowed the perfect quality dragon snake orchid flower you gave me last time, and the dragon-type bloodline in its body is being activated every day. It should be able to raise its bloodline and evolve into a dragon-tailed elephant lizard tomorrow or the day after. Long Dao nodded and dismissed the meeting after saying a few more words to Fang Duo. The first time. End of this chapter. Chapter 606. The meeting room of the Rhine Club was also brightly lit. However, the meeting in the Rhine Club's guild conference room had obviously been dismissed for a long time. Shu was the only one left in the conference room, holding his chin with his hand and laughing foolishly. At this moment, the door of the Rhine Club was pushed open from the outside. A young man who wasn't tall but looked very mature walked in. When the young man saw Shu laughing mysteriously while leaning on his arm, his face revealed an indescribable expression. How could such a fine young man become a fool? The mature youth walked to Shu's side and was about to ask Shu what was wrong. But he didn't expect Shu to speak first. Captain, what should you do if someone secretly likes you? Hearing this, the mature-looking young man's expression immediately became awkward. Li Ang expressed that even though he was the Radiance 100 sequence number 2, he looked rather mature and reserved. As a result, no one had ever come to flirt with him. He was a complete newbie in love. Not only had he never held a girl's hand, he had never even thought about it. You asked me, what if someone secretly likes you? How would I know? On the other hand, I, Li Ang, would like to ask you, Shu, how do you make someone like you secretly? Li Ang coughed lightly. His mature face remained unchanged as he calmly said to Shu, What? I saw you smiling foolishly today, so it turns out that you've fallen in love. Hearing Li Ang's words, Shu immediately jumped up like a cat whose tail was pinched. Captain, don't talk nonsense. It's someone else who likes me. I'm just thinking about whether or not I should accept her. As he spoke, Shu's voice became softer and softer. His face was as red as the braised pork that had just come out of the pot. If it had been someone else, they might have been able to tell that Shu was lying. But at this time, Li Ang's mind was filled with thoughts of how to make people secretly like him, so he obviously couldn't hear it. Seeing Shu's reaction, Li Ang hurriedly comforted him. If you like her, then accept her. If you don't like her, then you're just forcing yourself. At this time, Li Ang heard Shu Chang say with a long sigh. Sigh, the key is that the girl gave me a lot of money. The grace of a beauty is really sweet and distressing. Hearing Shu's sigh, Li Ang felt his hands itch. Li Ang looked at his own hand and thought that even if Shu used his lightning tortoise shell, he might still die from his slap. Li Ang quickly calmed himself down and thought to himself. It's fine if no one has a crush on me, but Shu has a crush on someone, and there's even a little girl who's taking the initiative to give him money. What kind of good fortune is this? How could he still pretend to sigh when he had such good fortune? Li Ang asked, pretending not to care. How much did the girl who has a crush on you give you? Hearing this, Shu said with even more melancholy 50 million radiance dollars. As soon as Shu finished speaking, he heard Li Ang cough violently. Shishu turned around and said to Li Ang, "Captain, if you're not feeling well, why don't you rest in the guild tomorrow? I'll help you lead the team to the all-star competition." Li Ang immediately stopped coughing and said in a mature manner, "No, no need. My body is fine, and that girl gave you 50 million radiance dollars. She should be very rich, right?" Li Ang would never let Shishu lead the team to the all-star competition for him even if he was beaten to death. The Rhine Guild Club was the champion of last year's S tournament. As the captain of the Rhine Guild Club, Li Ang would be participating in the all-star competition in a high-profile manner. He might even be able to use this opportunity to meet a girl who fell in love with him at first sight and write a love letter to him. At that time, he would be able to end his 24 years of single life and graduate from the automatic control major with glory. When Shishu heard Liang's question, he subconsciously replied, "How would I know that Zhao Xiaochun is so rich? How would I know that Zhao Xiaochun is so rich? She actually took out 50 million radiance dollars." As soon as Shishu said this, he immediately realized that he seemed to have revealed something incredible. In the morning, Shishu, who had been busy with the S tournament, finally had the time to log into his live streaming room on Star Web after more than a month. He was preparing to do a Star Web live streaming as usual. However, he didn't expect to receive a surprise box. Shishu rarely live streamed, but he understood that very few people would stuff a lot of money into a surprise box that didn't add any contribution points. He didn't expect to find 50 million radiance dollars after opening it. The working Emperor Shishu was dumbfounded by the 50 million radiance dollars reward. When Shishu looked at the reward on the box, he realized that it was actually a reward from Zhao Xiaochun, who was also a Radiance 100 sequence member like him. The surprise box was a reward that the host could only receive 1 year after it was sent. Shishu sorted out his thoughts and finally determined that Zhao Xiaochun should have been secretly in love with him a year ago. He thought about the lewd words that Zhao Xiaochun had said to him in the Abyss Dimensional Rift. Shishu was sure that Zhao Xiaochun had wanted to use this method to attract his attention, but he hadn't reacted in time. Originally, Shishu didn't have any thoughts about Zhao Xiaochun. However, after thinking about it, Shishu felt that since he was single, he couldn't let down a girl's affection. Somehow, the more he thought about it, the more images Shishu had in his mind. When he was giggling earlier, Shishu had already thought of his daughter's name. When he thought about his daughter, Shi Xiaochun, who looked fair and tender, Shishu couldn't help but curl up his mouth again. He let out a hee-hee giggle. When Li Ang heard Shishu mention Zhao Xiaochun, he didn't react for a moment. When Li Ang came back to his senses, his jaw almost dropped to the ground. After a long while, Li Ang said suspiciously, "Isn't Zhao Xiaochun someone who only likes handsome men?" After Li Ang said this, he realized that what he said was wrong. Just as he was about to change the topic, he didn't expect to hear Shishu say this in a serious tone. "If Zhao Xiaochun didn't like handsome guys, she wouldn't have fallen for me at first sight." Li Ang looked at Shishu's confident look and was stunned. Li Ang felt that he and Shishu both had the appearance of a mature youth. Other than his height, Li Ang was confident that he was not worse than Shishu in any other aspect. Was it because of the stubble on Shishu's chin? Touching his chin, Li Ang decided to grow a beard from now on. The more Li Ang looked at Shishu, the more he felt that Shishu was an expert. Otherwise, Zhao Xiaochun wouldn't have been willing to give him 50 million radiance dollars to pursue him. "Shishu, Zhao Xiaochun should be going to the S tournament tomorrow. Do you want me to create an opportunity for you?" Shishu shook his head and said mysteriously, "No need, she likes to eat. No need, she likes it. I've already used the money Xiaochun gave me to open another restaurant. The second one was even better." End of this chapter. Chapter 607. At this point, Shishu's expression became even more sincere and resolute. "I also secretly told Long Dao about me and Xiaochun. When the time comes, Long Dao will bring Xiaochun to my restaurant for dinner. Confessions should be left to boys." Looking at Shishu's unfathomable look, Li Ang felt that he should learn more from Shishu on the road of love. Following an expert like Shishu was definitely the right choice. At the same time, Li Ang was somewhat vexed. If he had known that a master like Shishu was hiding by his side, She might even have a child by now. The next morning, after Lin Yuan woke up, he cut the hair that was originally covering his earlobes to his ears. After showering, Lin Yuan chose a set of spirit chi clothes with white and blue colors embellished with some platinum-colored silk patterns. The lock made of dragon species fey leather and scales extended from the waist all the way down to the calf. It made the white and blue spirit chi clothes look a little more heroic. He could not help but sigh. Wen Yu's lifestyle class spirit chi occupation, the weaver, was probably going to rise from class 3 to class 4. Not to mention the exquisite design of the spirit chi clothing, even the craftsmanship was a level higher than when he first made the clothes for himself. After leaving the room and eating breakfast, everyone prepared to head towards the all-star competition venue. Liu Jie said as he helped Chu Ci carry her backpack. The all-star competition will be held in the Palace of Radiance. I have already prepared lunch in the Fey storage box. Let me know if you are hungry. Chu Ci said hurriedly. Thank you, brother Liu. Lin Yuan realized that Liu Jie really doted on her and would always ask her what she liked when cooking. Everyone in the manor, including the mother of Bloodbath and Endless Summer, treated her well from the bottom of their hearts. This made Lin Yuan very happy and touched. He knew his sister very well. She was the kind of person who was not good with words and very slow to warm up. It was the care and love of the other people in the manor that allowed her to blend in so quickly. Lin Yuan didn't know much about the all-star competition and usually didn't pay much attention to it. Therefore, Lin Yuan did not know that the all-star competition's venue was actually the Palace of Radiance. The Radiance Palace could be said to be the second largest venue in the Radiance Federation after the Radiance Sacred Hall. Unlike the Radiance Sacred Hall, which represented the Radiance Will, the Radiance Temple was undoubtedly much more relaxed. The Radiant Light Palace was open to all Spirit Chi professionals, and even non-Spirit Chi professionals could enter as long as they had a ticket. However, the Radiant Light Palace also had a strong sense of government. In a sense, the Radiant Light Palace belonged to the Radiance Sacred Hall. It had always been the staff of the Radiance Sacred Hall who managed the Radiance Temple. Venues like the Radiance Palace had always been the place to hold the Radiance 100 sequence selection in the past. Last year, the finals of the S tournament were not held in the Palace of Glow. Instead, it was held in the Starlight Palace, which was one level lower than the Radiance Palace. However, this time, the Guild Alliance had requested to hold the All-Star competition in the Radiant Light Palace. It could be seen that the scale of this year's All-Star competition was much larger than the previous ones. It could be said that the Guild Alliance had spent a lot to organize this event. Wen Yu didn't summon the Sunlight Egret as she usually did. Instead, he spoke to Lin Yuan. Young Master, every ticket for the All-Star competition includes the Guild Alliance's official flying phase for transportation services. There are now 10 soft feather unicorn birds waiting outside. Hu Quan interrupted and said, the Guild Alliance has really spent a lot of money. There are 200,000 seats in the Radiant Light Palace, which is equivalent to sending out 200,000 soft feather unicorn birds at the same time. Just the transportation cost of 20 soft feather unicorn birds for a day is no less than 1 trillion radiance dollars. Upon hearing Hu Quan's sigh, Lin Yuan shook his head. The Guild Alliance had spent such a huge price to send out the soft feather unicorn birds for transportation. It was probably not just for the service. It was more likely that the 200,000 spectators would be riding different flying fays. Tens of thousands of different types of flying fays would gather together. As some fays were natural enemies or predatory, they might attack each other uncontrollably. Many Spirit Chi professionals' flying fays were not contracted but bought from creation masters at a high price. This also caused the Spirit Chi professionals who were piloting the flying fays to be unable to have perfect control over their flying fays. If the Guild Alliance did not regulate this, there was bound to be chaos. After sighing, Hu Quan turned his eyes and said to Lin Yuan, tell me to reconsider my proposal to build a fey carriage. Now that we have so many spatial magnets and floating silver threads, we can already build a supreme-grade fey carriage. Now that I have so many spatial magnets and floating silver threads, I can create a supreme-grade fey carriage. Clearly, Hu Quan coveted those spatial soft silver threads and spatial magnets. Upon hearing Hu Quan's words, Lin Yuan pondered for a moment and said, Uncle Hu Quan. Since you want to do it, then build the Fey carriage first. Lin Yuan had already made it clear that he wanted to hire a creation master. Sky City only had him and no other creation masters, so it was obviously impossible for it to develop quickly. This was because Lin Yuan's current problem of not being able to upgrade his phase grade was already an urgent need to be resolved. Otherwise, Lin Yuan could not possibly consume spirit chi crystals to upgrade Hu Quan's vitality sloth. In Lin Yuan's opinion, if he wanted to rope in a creation master, he had to rope in a Class 4 creation master. A Class 3 creation master could not solve many practical problems. In Lin Yuan's opinion, if he wanted to rope in a creation master, he would need to rope in a Class 4 creation master. A Class 3 creation master wouldn't be able to solve many practical problems. Sitting on the soft feather unicorn's back and looking down from a high altitude, Lin Yuan felt very comfortable. The soft feather unicorn was a very high-end Fey. It was small, fast, and very comfortable to ride. It had horns on its head and scales on its wings. Its feathers were yellow and had a hint of auspiciousness. The soft feather unicorn was a very high-end Fey. It was small, fast, and very comfortable to ride on. The soft feather unicorn in charge of picking up the passengers were all gold. Lin Yuan checked the 10 soft feather unicorn in charge of picking up the passengers and found that 4 of them were flawless. As they got closer to the Radiant Light Palace, there were more soft feather unicorn in the sky. When Lin Yuan could see the Radiant Light Palace, he was surrounded by many soft feather unicorn. If Lin Yuan had to use 2 words to describe the scene in front of him, Lin Yuan really had to hesitate for a while and did not know if he should use prosperous or lively. Lin Yuan had been in the royal capital for a long time, but he did not have many opportunities to walk around in the royal capital. Therefore, he had never seen the Radiant Light Palace before. When Lin Yuan knew that the Radiant Light Palace had 20 seats, he felt that it might be very crowded. However, after seeing the scale of the Radiant Light Palace, Lin Yuan felt that it could accommodate 600,000 people at the same time. Third, more. Night time. Seeking recommendation votes and monthly votes. End of this chapter. Chapter 608. The soft feather unicorn landed, and Lin Yuan met up with everyone. Liu Jie said as he took out the ticket from his pocket. Young master, the ticket I took is the Radiance 100 Sequences internal ticket. It's considered a benefit that the Guild Alliance gives to the Radiance 100 Sequence members. With the tickets, we don't have to wait here for the staff of the Palace of Glow to arrange for us to enter. We can go directly to the special passage. Lin Yuan felt comfortable being blown by the wind in the sky. He stretched in satisfaction and followed Liu Jie to walk inside through the special passage. At this moment, Chu Ci suddenly called out and pointed to the side. Look, there are masks over there. Why don't we each buy a mask and wear it inside? Everyone looked in the direction Chu Ci was pointing and immediately saw a stall selling all kinds of masks. Most of these masks were engraved with the logo of the various clubs and guild, as well as cartoon portraits of the club members. Everyone walked to the front of the stall and suddenly saw a silver mask on the stall. The mother of Bloodbath reached out to pick up the silver mask, and everyone subconsciously looked at Lin Yuan. Upon sensing everyone's gaze, Lin Yuan scratched his head awkwardly. Seeing that everyone had the intention to buy, the stall owner immediately introduced. You know Black, right? He's the little hero who fought his way to the Celestial Stairway, the one who achieved everything on the Celestial Stairway. There aren't many of these masks in stock. I had to work overtime to urge a few Class 1 spirit craftsmen to rush the production. They're all made of stainless steel and plated with a layer of bronze-grade spirit material, clear silver. The mother of Bloodbath asked directly, Boss, I want this mask. How much is one? The boss smiled honestly and stretched out his hand, 10 radiance dollars each. Lin Yuan looked at the stall owner's honest smile and felt that the owner's heart was black. However, the mother of Bloodbath clearly did not care about this and directly traded 100 radiance dollars to the vendor. Then he put the silver mask on his face. Chu Ci smiled as she reached for a silver mask and put it on her face. At the same time, he handed one to Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan, you look like Black the most when you wear this mask, right? Upon hearing Chu Siai's words, the stall owner interrupted. This little brother looks kind. He doesn't have that cold aura. He doesn't look like this little brother when he wears it. It's just that this little brother is slightly shorter. Lin Yuan saw the stall owner point his finger at Listen and realized that Listen's eyes were really somewhat similar to his after wearing the mask. Chu Siai often browsed the Star Web and was a frequent visitor to the Star Web video library. Even though he had never told her that he was black, Chu Siai knew that he was black. However, when Chu Siai saw Black's battle, she immediately recognized Chimey. In fact, even if there was no Chimey, as a family member who had been with Lin Yuan for over a decade, Chimey would still be able to help Lin Yuan. She could recognize him just by looking at his eyes behind the mask. It was precisely because she knew Black's identity that she was not complacent when she was regarded as the most talented genius of the younger generation on Star Web. Instead, it was because he knew that there were still many areas for him to work on. He put the silver mask back and felt that he was too narcissistic for wearing his own mask. Suddenly, Lin Yuan saw an inconspicuous mask in the back corner. He had some impression of the person on the mask. It seemed that his first Celestial Stairway promotion duel was against this Spirit Chi professional. Furthermore, he had encountered this Spirit Chi professional in the Class 3 Abyss Dimensional Rift, so it could be considered fate. Lin Yuan recalled that this person's name seemed to be Chen Hongfeng. Lin Yuan put on Chen Hongfeng's mask on his face. He walked all the way through the special passage. Lin Yuan found that there was a Spirit Chi professional wearing the Radiant Light Palace's staff uniform every 100 meters on both sides of the passage. These Spirit Chi professionals were the attendants of the Radiant Light Palace. Looking at the densely packed attendants, Lin Yuan knew that this all-star match might be a Grand Carnival and Carnival, but the all-star match would be a Grand Carnival. However, the requirements for order were also extremely strict. If there were any special incidents, there would be an attendant every 100 meters who could rush over in time to deal with the emergency. After leaving the special passage, I arrived at the resting area of the club guild members. After passing through the resting areas of the various club guilds, they arrived at the official venue. In reality, the special passage was set up mainly for the players of the club guilds participating in the all-star competition. Chu Siai looked around curiously along the way. Upon seeing Chu Siai's curious look, Lin Yuan reached out to touch her head. He pressed down the erector hoj on Chu Siai's head and said, "You are a defense-type Spirit Chi professional. In the future, you will also form your own team. At that time, you will also be able to participate in team battles." Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Chu Siai looked at him with sparkling eyes and asked, "Lin Yuan, can I form a team with you? Lin Yuan, can I form a team with you?" Before Lin Yuan could speak, Liu Jie, who was beside Chu Siai, spoke up. "Young Master has also established a club guild. Next year's all-star competition will also be held after the quarterfinals. If we go smoothly in next year's S tournament, we will also appear in the list of invited guilds for the all-star competition." Upon hearing Liu Jie's words, Chu Siai's eyes lit up even more. She quickly changed her words to Lin Yuan. "Big brother, can I join your club guild?" Upon hearing Chu Siai's words, Lin Yuan was startled. Chu Siai was his younger sister, and Lin Yuan had always subconsciously treated Chu Siai as a little girl who needed his care. Previously, when choosing teammates for the club guild, Lin Yuan had subconsciously excluded Chu Siai. However, it was undeniable that Chu Siai was already very strong. Moreover, compared to other Spirit Chi professionals of similar strength, Chu Siai had an advantage in terms of potential. Moreover, Chu Siai had a master like Cold Moon. Lin Yuan really did not know what level Chu Siai's strength would reach in a year's time. In fact, just now, Chu Siai's Silver V Fantasy Breed Obsidian Iron Wild Bull's strength was already comparable to most Gold Fays. Moreover, the Obsidian Iron Wild Bull was not a Fantasy I Fay but a Fantasy 2 Fay. The Fantasy 2 quality allowed the Obsidian Iron Wild Bull to clash with most peak Gold Legend Fays. In terms of the strength of her main Fay, Chu Siai's strength could be said to have surpassed License. After Chu Siai got used to the Yellow Jadeite Golden Butterfly's exclusive skill, Cold Moon would raise its grade and quality. Even without Lin Yuan's help, The yellow jadeite golden butterfly's grade and quality would be raised by cold moon. In that case, Chu Si was now qualified to join Lin Yuan's club guild. First update, asking for monthly votes and recommendation votes. End of this chapter. Chapter 609. Since Chu Si had made a request, and her strength had also reached the standard, Chu Si's strength had already reached the standard. Lin Yuan naturally would not refuse. No problem, but you still have to focus on your studies. You can't fall behind. Chu Si hurriedly nodded and patted her chest. Lin Yuan, don't worry. I can be a reserve member first and try to improve my strength in 1 year. Upon hearing Chu Si's words, Listen, who was wearing a silver mask and looked very much like black, revealed a bitter smile. Listen felt that he was quite talented, but after joining the Dome Guild Club, he increasingly felt that his strength was insufficient. In particular, after hearing Chu Si's words, Listen felt even more pressured. Listen had been loyal to Lin Yuan for a long time and knew how many resources he had. Even if she was not very talented, just the resources in Lin Yuan's hands were enough for her to have strength far beyond her peers. Moreover, she was the #1 genius of the Radiance Federation's younger generation on Star Web. Recently, Listen had been busy managing the Listening Heron Chamber of Commerce and had slacked off in training his combat skills. Listen had made up his mind. In the future, even if he had to sleep 2 hours less every day, he would hone his combat skills and improve his strength. The resting rooms of the club guilds in front of him all had the emblem of the various club guilds. It was easy to tell which guild club this lounge belonged to. The lounge of an A-rank guild club was at least 3 times larger than that of a B-rank guild club. Especially in terms of the decorations and designs, it showed that the A-grade clubs were far superior to the B-grade clubs. It revealed the superiority of an A-ranked club guild. Regardless of whether it was the lounge of an A-rank guild club or a B-rank guild club, the design style of the lounge was translucent. Aside from the closed combat meeting room in the lounge, one could see the activities of the guild members in the rest of the room through the transparent walls. Chu Si was not a fan of celebrities, but when she saw many Radiance 100 sequence members in the guild club, she could not help but feel excited. Chu Si couldn't help but feel excited. Seeing this, Liu Jie pondered for a moment and suggested, this year's Radiance 100 sequence selection will be conducted on Star Web using a special selection method. Even the elimination process will be broadcasted on Star Web. Chu Si, you can watch it if you're interested. Compared to the All-Star competition, it was obvious that the Radiance 100 sequence selection was more attractive to her. When Lin Yuan saw the excitement and seriousness in Chu Si's expression, he knew that she wanted to know more about the Radiance 100 sequence selection besides watching the show. This was because the Radiance 100 sequence was also her current goal as a spirit chi professional. Chu Si was filled with anticipation and excitement when she heard Liu Jie's words. More than that, he was puzzled. Big Brother Liu, in the past Radiance 100 sequence selections, didn't we only see people who had gone through the elimination process and the original sequence members from sequence 90 to 100 compete in the arena? How come I can even watch the elimination process now? Liu Jie shook his head gently when he heard her question. As a Radiance 100 sequence member, Liu Jie naturally had some insider information. Liu Jie had mentioned it to him before. However, what puzzled Liu Jie was that the Radiance Sacred Hall had not disclosed the follow-up news and had kept it a secret. He was afraid that this secret would only be announced when the Radiance 100 elimination competition was going to take place. I heard that this time, the Guild Alliance will be able to apply for the Radiant Light Palace as the venue for the All-Star competition. A large part of the reason is that the Radiance Sacred Hall wants to use the participation of the Radiance 100 sequence members in the various A and B guild clubs to warm up for the new Radiance 100 selection. Otherwise, no matter how much the Guild Alliance invested, they wouldn't be able to apply for permission to host the All-Star Carnival at the Palace of Glow. At most, it will be the same as last year's tournament finals, applying for the Hall of Starlight. Upon hearing Liu Jie's words, Lin Yuan felt that the Radiance 100 sequence selection this time would not be simple. As he walked, he found himself passing by the lounge with the emblem of the Extreme Guild Club on the wall in front of him. Lin Yuan looked through the transparent glass wall and looked inside the Extreme Guild Club. In the end, he did not see any of the four of them. At that moment, Lin Yuan saw someone wearing the Extreme Guild Club's uniform walking toward the club's lounge. Lin Yuan hurriedly stepped forward and asked, "Excuse me, is Zhong Xiaobai in the lounge? I want to talk to him." The person Lin Yuan called was a short-haired youth with pockmarks on his face. Upon hearing Lin Yuan mention Zhong Xiaobai, the short-haired youth with pockmarks on his face showed a complicated expression. Zhong Xiaobai is no longer a member of the Extreme Guild Club's reserve team. Zhong Xiaobai has terminated his contract with the Extreme Guild Club and left. Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan was about to ask about Xin Ying, Tan Ran, and Lu Pinru. He found that the short-haired youth with freckles on his face ignored him and turned to walk into the lounge. Lin Yuan's brows were tightly knitted together. Lin Yuan saw that the pockmarked, short-haired youth was wearing the Extreme Guild Club's uniform with a reserve team member's identity card. The youth with pockmarks on his face had a hidden trace of joy and schadenfreude in his complicated expression. In Lin Yuan's opinion, it was very likely that Zhong Xiaobai had terminated his contract with the Extreme Guild Club. This pockmarked youth had the opportunity to become a member of the Extreme Guild Club's reserve team. After all, there were only 5 main and reserve team members that could be officially declared by the Guild Alliance. However, most of the guild clubs would nurture many reserve talents so that they could fill in time once there were vacancies. Lin Yuan had only guessed that something had happened to Zhong Xiaobai and the others, but he did not expect it to be so big. Zhong Xiaobai, Xin Ying, Tan Ran, and Lu Pinru's daily lives as Spirit Chi professionals revolved around the Extreme Guild Club. They completed the missions arranged by the Extreme Guild Club day after day. At the same time, they trained and participated in the S tournament year after year. Not long ago, when Lin Yuan had chatted with Zhong Xiaobai and the others, Zhong Xiaobai had said that he was ready to play in the S tournament in the Extreme Guild Club until he was 30 years old. When he reached the upper limit required by the Guild Alliance, he would then transform into a full-time mercenary. In just a few short days, what had happened to completely change Zhong Xiaobai's mind? The second was even worse. End of this chapter. Chapter 610. The Extreme Guild Club did not treat Zhong Xiaobai and the others well. However, Zhong Xiaobai and the others had always been very concerned about the Extreme Guild Club. When you walked to Lin Yuan's side and asked softly, "Young master, do you want me to check the reason?" Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan shook his head and replied, "No need. I'll make a call and ask first." Originally, Lin Yuan thought that if he could meet Zhong Xiaobai at the All-Star match, Xin Ying and the others would ask. Lin Yuan had thought that if he could meet Zhong Xiaobai at the All-Star match, he would ask Xin Ying and the others. However, Lin Yuan did not expect that Zhong Xiaobai had actually withdrawn from the Extreme Guild Club. This made Lin Yuan want to immediately ask Zhong Xiaobai what had happened. Just as Lin Yuan picked up his cell phone and was about to call Zhong Xiaobai, in the distance, several staff members were dealing with a dispute between two youths. In the distance, several staff members were dealing with a dispute between two young men. Lin Yuan took a closer look and found that the youth whose phone was ringing in his pocket was Zhong Xiaobai. Although they were very far apart, Lin Yuan could see the abnormal anger on Zhong Xiaobai's unruly face. Lin Yuan took a closer look and found that the youth whose phone was ringing in his pocket was Zhong Xiaobai. The youth who was confronting Zhong Xiaobai was very strong and was a head taller than Zhong Xiaobai. His arms were thicker than Zhong Xiaobai's thighs. Zhong Xiaobai was already 1.85 meters tall and was considered a taller existence among the Radiance Federation's Spirit Chi professionals. The sturdy man stood there like a black iron tower. However, this black iron tower-like strong man's eyes were looking at Zhong Xiaobai with obvious mockery. Zhong Xiaobai was also trying his best to restrain his emotions. He clenched and released his fists, and the veins on his forehead were bursting out. Liu Jie could keenly sense the change in Lin Yuan's emotions and walked to his side. "Young master, do you know the person in front? It's a serious problem to cause trouble in the Radiance Sacred Hall. It's best not to blow things up. Otherwise, it will affect the guild that is participating in the All-Star match. If young master knows him, I can go and deal with it." Liu Jie did not know Zhong Xiaobai and did not know that Lin Yuan and Zhong Xiaobai had once guarded Millstone Town and experienced life and death together. However, Liu Jie knew that this matter had gotten out of hand when he saw that 6 staff members of the Radiant Light Temple had surrounded them. Otherwise, an ordinary conflict would only be handled by 2 staff members at most. Upon closer inspection, Liu Jie saw an indistinct red mark on the towering man's face. From the looks of it, there had already been a physical altercation. Lin Yuan's brows were tightly knitted behind his mask. Lin Yuan knew Zhong Xiaobai very well, and he was not a troublemaker. Therefore, there must be a reason for such a situation to occur. At that moment, Lin Yuan saw the black tower-like sturdy man step forward and say something to Zhong Xiaobai. At that moment, Lin Yuan keenly noticed that Zhong Xiaobai's body was constantly leaning toward the burly man. Lin Yuan thought, not good. Zhong Xiaobai was probably unable to control his emotions after hearing the words of the black iron tower-like man. If the conflict between Zhong Xiaobai and Zhong Xiaobai in the Palace of Glow could be said to be over after several staff members dealt with it. However, if Zhong Xiaobai made trouble in front of the 6 staff members of the Palace of Glow, it would be tantamount to provoking the staff members of the Palace of Glow, and the nature of the matter would become serious. Let's go and take a look together. After speaking, Lin Yuan quickly walked toward the site of the conflict. Just as Zhong Xiaobai clenched his fist and was ready to throw it out recklessly, he found that his wrist was held by someone, and a familiar voice sounded in his ear. Xiaobai, what's the situation? Zhong Xiaobai, whose wrist was suddenly held by Lin Yuan, suddenly broke out in a cold sweat. He realized that he had been too impulsive just now. Zhong Xiaobai obviously did not expect to meet Lin Yuan here and wanted to smile at Lin Yuan. However, when the smile appeared on his face, it turned into a bitter smile. At that moment, the black iron tower-like sturdy man spoke in a low, muffled voice. Since the conflict was not initiated by me, I will also go back and prepare for a combat meeting. After getting the consent of the 6 Palace of Glow staff members, the black iron tower-like sturdy man looked at Zhong Xiaobai with eyes full of mockery and playfulness. Hihi, you still have friends. If you have friends, why don't you think about how to borrow some money from them? Give me the money, and I'll put away the things that need to be put away. It won't delay your business. After saying that, the sturdy man turned around and walked toward the lounge on the side. Unbeknownst to the burly man, he was being scrutinized by Liu Jie as he turned around and walked into the lounge. After taking a few glances at the tower-like man, Liu Jie couldn't help but look at Zhong Xiaobai with sympathy. Lin Yuan let go of Zhong Xiaobai's wrist. Little White, you need a lot of money. I have some here. When Zhong Xiaobai heard Lin Yuan's words, his heart warmed. But then Zhong Xiaobai shook his head and said, "It's not as simple as money." As he spoke, Zhong Xiaobai's eyes turned red. At this moment, a solemn voice suddenly sounded. Former Extreme Guild Club Reserve team member Zhong Xiaobai, right? You initiated an attack on Meng Shu, a member of the Barbarian Snake Guild Club's main force in the resting area, am I right? Right after this solemn voice sounded, Liu Jie, who was standing behind Lin Yuan, stepped forward and took off his mask. I'm Radiance 100 Sequence 30, Liu Jie. This person is my friend. He had a small conflict with a member of the Barbarian Snake Guild Club. He already knows his mistake. Let's settle this in private. There will be no conflict in the Palace of Glow. When the 6 staff members saw Liu Jie, they looked at each other. The staff member who spoke just now said to Liu Jie, "Since that's the case, please don't do it again." After that, the 6 staff members of the Palace of Glow returned to their original areas, ready to deal with any accidents that might happen next. Upon seeing that Zhong Xiaobai had something to say to him but did not know how to say it, Lin Yuan patted him on the shoulder and said, "Don't worry. Xiaobai was doing fine in the Extreme Guild Club previously. Why did she suddenly decide to leave the Extreme Guild Club?" Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Zhong Xiaobai pursed his lips tightly and said after a long while, "Lin Yuan, can you lend me 300,000 Radiance dollars?" Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan took out his star web card. Before Lin Yuan could speak, Liu Jie walked to Zhong Xiaobai's side and asked, Were your teammates injured by Meng Shu from the Barbarian Snake Guild Club and had their senses stolen by Meng Shu's contracted sensory theft King Jiyu? Are they lying in the hospital like vegetative people now? The third one. End of chapter. Chapter 611. Liu Jie's words made Lin Yuan's hand, which was holding onto the star web card, pause. A person relied on spiritual energy to control the human body's movements, while the five senses were tools for spiritual energy to control the human body's movements and cognition of the surroundings. Depriving the five senses was akin to stealing a person's hearing, sight, smell, taste, and touch. Without these five senses, even if one's spiritual energy and soul were not depleted, one would still sink into the endless darkness. Zhong Xiaobai looked at Liu Jie in a daze and nodded gratefully to Liu Jie. It could be said that Zhong Xiaobai and Liu Jie were very similar people, just like how Zhong Xiaobai had protected Millstone Town and how Liu Jie had resisted the insect tide outside Cold Frost City. Among the Radiance 100 sequence, Zhong Xiaobai liked many people. However, apart from liking Liu Jie, Zhong Xiaobai respected him more. His idol was standing at the side and helping him out. If it was any other time, Zhong Xiaobai would have jumped 3 feet high. His mouth was like an old lady's cotton pants, chattering non-stop. But now, Zhong Xiaobai's mood was getting heavier, and he felt helpless at the same time. Originally, Zhong Xiaobai did not want to involve Lin Yuan. The Barbaric Snake Guild Club was a veteran B-grade guild club without the Radiance Hundred's backing, and the power behind it should not be underestimated. However, when Liu Jie mentioned Meng Shu and his contracted Fei, the Steel Perception King Jiyu, Zhong Xiaobai started to talk. He poured out everything that had happened during this period of time. 4 days ago, Lady White Devil unilaterally terminated the contract with the Extreme Guild Club. As a result, 3 members of the main team were unable to participate in the top 16 duel. The 4 of us arranged to go up. When that damn Wei Chong was accumulating his abilities, he actually asked Lu Pinru to help him block the damage. Lu Pinru is a defense-type spirit chi professional, and Wei Chong is a scoundrel. Zhong Xiaobai was originally a chatterbox, and it was rare for him to calm down. After holding it in for 4 days, he could no longer hold back his chatterbox. The more Lin Yuan listened, the tighter his frown became. Lin Yuan had always known that there was a problem with the Extreme Guild Club, but he did not expect it to be so huge. In combat, the captain of a small team was usually the commander, and the captain's will would greatly affect the team's combat style. It could be said that the captain's words were an order. Zhong Xiaobai, Tan Ran, Lu Pinru, and Xin Ying were replaced by 4 of the main team members who were unable to attend the match. This was a match that they were bound to lose. Wei Chong, as the team leader, had ordered Lu Pinru to use her body to block the attack. This meant that Wei Chong did not care about Lu Pinru's safety at all. The duels in the real world were different from the Celestial Stairway duels on Star Web. In the Celestial Stairway duels, some Fays could use suicidal attacks at will in exchange for victory. However, in a real battle, any collision had to be handled with extreme caution. Every serious injury caused by a collision would require them to look for a creation master for treatment after the competition. In some serious cases, spirit chi professionals and Fays had even died. Lin Yuan now roughly understood why Zhong Xiaobai had quit the Extreme Guild Club. At that moment, Zhong Xiaobai continued speaking. When Lu Pinru helped Wei Chong block the attack, she wasn't wearing any silk clothing at all. At that time, apart from me, Wei Chong took all of the silk clothing that Lu Pinru had made. In Wei Chong's team, what's the use of so many silk clothing for a combat-type spirit chi professional with high-explosive long-range elemental damage? Upon hearing this, Lin Yuan could not help but interrupt. Wei Chong was wearing so many of Lu Pinru's clothes. How could he let Lu Pinru help block the attack? Lin Yuan had worn the hard armor silk clothing woven by Lu Pinru's Fei, lustrous weaver silkworm. Lin Yuan had a deep understanding of the hard armor silk clothing's defense. Just a layer of the hard armor silk clothing's defense should be able to match the damage that a support-type spirit chi professional like Lu Pinru could withstand, right? Upon hearing Lin Yuan's question, Zhong Xiaobai's expression turned into deep worry. The Fei that attacked Wei Chong was the soul-crushing spike from the Savage Snake Guild Club's main team leader's Fei, the soul-crushing hedgehog. The soul-crushing spike speed is not fast, and even I can dodge it. However, Wei Chong clearly could have dodged it, but he didn't. Wei Chong was bound to lose, but he still wanted to use the continue ability, wanting to replace a member of the Savage Snake Guild Club to increase his stats in the tournament. When the tournament was about to end, Meng Shu used the Sense Theft King Jiyu to steal Lu Pinru's, Xin Ying's, and Tan Rant's senses. It's fine that Xin Ying's and Tan Rant's senses were stolen. When Meng Shu controlled the Sense Theft King Jiyu to fight, he would always release Xin Ying's and Tan Rant's senses in order to free up the Sense Theft King Gu's 5 senses. But Lu Pinru's soul was already injured, and she had lost her 5 senses. How could she withstand it? Upon hearing this, Lin Yuan clenched his fists tightly. Among all the Fays, only an extremely small number of Fays could cause damage to the soul. People had always been wary of Fays that could cause damage to the soul. A damaged soul was definitely a fatal blow to a spirit chi professional. Apart from feeling the intense pain at the soul level, the spirit chi professional's grade would not be able to increase before the soul injury was healed. If a creation master's soul spirit was injured, before the soul spirit recovered, no matter how talented they would be stuck at the pinnacle of Class 3 creation masters. A Class 4 creation master's technique already involved the usage of soul spirit power. The excruciating pain in the soul was unbearable, no matter how strong-willed one was. On the other hand, the 5 senses dominated by mental power could effectively share the pain when the soul was in pain. However, Lu Pinru had been deprived of her 5 senses. She could only slowly savor the pain and torment that came from her soul in the darkness of imprisonment. It was fine if it was only for a short period of time, but if it continued for a long period of time, his spirit and soul would collapse under the torture of the soul pain. At that time, Lu Pinru would be finished. At that moment, Lin Yuan felt his sleeve being pulled. He turned his head and found Chu Si, who was wearing a silver mask, looking at him. He saw anger and worry in her eyes. Lin Yuan patted Chu Si's hand and asked Zhong Xiaobai in a deep voice. So, 300,000 radiance dollars is the price for Meng Shu to release Lu Pinru, Xin Ying, and Tan Rant's 5 senses? Zhong Xiaobai gritted his teeth and said. Meng Shu knew that Lu Pinru's soul spirit was injured, so he continued to release the 5 senses trapped in the Sense Theft King Jiyu. 300,000 is the price Meng Shu offered to release Lu Pinru's 5 senses. First, more. Seeking recommendation votes and monthly votes. End of this chapter. Chapter 612. Having said that, Zhong Xiaobai wanted to raise his fist and punch the wall next to the Palace of Glow. Zhong Xiaobai could not bear the feeling of being bullied and taking advantage of the situation. However, when Zhong Xiaobai felt the cold eyes of the staff of the Palace of Glow not far away, he was so scared that he quickly withdrew his fist and said with hatred, "If not for the fact that there's no one to take care of the 3 of them right now, I would really want to fight it out with Meng Shu." Back in the Xia region, Lin Yuan had climbed up step by step. For more than a decade, he had been leading Chu Si through the trivialities of life alone, and it was not rare for him to be bullied by others. Therefore, Lin Yuan could understand Zhong Xiaobai's feelings very well. "Xiaobai, didn't the Extreme Guild Club help you deal with this?" Zhong Xiaobai pretended to be indifferent and shrugged. However, Lin Yuan realized that Zhong Xiaobai's voice had changed a little. "It's not that we're not doing anything, but this matter involves the main member, Wei Chong. We also encountered Captain White Devil withdrawing from the Extreme Guild Club and terminating his contract with the Extreme Guild Club. The management of the Extreme Guild Club knows that they might not even make it to the top 32 with their current strength next year. Therefore, the Extreme Guild Club doesn't want to offend the Savage Snake Guild Club, which has been in the top 16 for the past few years. Plus, Lu Pinru's soul is injured. After weighing the pros and cons, the union has decided to increase my, Xin Ying's, and Tan Rant's benefits. They haven't given any specific treatment plan for Lu Pinru. At the same time, I have also arranged for a support-type spirit chi professional in the reserve team. What's the point of staying in a guild like this?" Zhong Xiaobai's tone became deeper and deeper. As he spoke, Zhong Xiaobai's eyes turned red. After saying that, Zhong Xiaobai sighed softly. This sigh spat out all of Zhong Xiaobai's longing and hard work in the Extreme Guild Club, despite the trials and tribulations he had faced. Apart from a few guild clubs that were established by Radiant's 100 sequence members and focus on results, there aren't many guild clubs. Many club guilds have powerful forces supporting them, so they value profit more than anything else. No one knew if Liu Jie was comforting Zhong Xiaobai when he said that. He was still explaining the situation to Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan nodded at Liu Jie's words. Lin Yuan ran his faction, Sky City, so he naturally knew the importance of profits. However, in Lin Yuan's heart, some things were always more important than pure interests. At that moment, Liu Jie continued to speak. Meng Shu of the Barbarian Snake Guild Club has been doing similar things for the past few years. The other main members of the Barbarian Snake Guild Club also know about Meng Shu's actions. Liu Jie's words were filled with disgust for the Barbarian Club. Lin Yuan didn't quite understand, no matter how the factions weighed their interests. However, the Guild Alliance couldn't just ignore a tumor like the Barbarian Snake Guild Club, right? I remember that the Guild Alliance has very strict requirements for the S-tournament clubs. Surely someone has reported this situation to the Guild Alliance. Liu Jie snorted coldly at the Barbarian Snake Guild Club's lounge. After the Theft Sense King insect steals the 5 senses, it can release the 5 senses at any time. Even if someone reports the Barbarian Snake Guild, before the Guild Alliance can investigate the Barbarian Snake Guild, the Theft Sense King insect will release the 5 senses imprisoned in its body. Out of all the B-rank club guilds, the Barbarian Snake Guild Club should be the only guild that isn't popular at all. Instead, it's hated. Last year, when the All-Stars drew lucky spectators, the lucky spectator that the Barbarian Snake Guild Club drew didn't choose to participate in a mentoring battle but a challenge. That lucky spectator was immediately beaten up by the Barbarian Snake Guild Club's representative, and his Fae was severely injured. This incident caused the Barbarian Snake Guild Club to almost not be able to participate in this year's All-Stars. When you had been standing quietly at the side, listening to Lin Yuan and Zhong Xiaobai's conversation and feeling Lin Yuan's intentions. After sensing that Lin Yuan wanted to interfere in this matter, she took a step forward and walked in front of Lin Yuan. "Young master, do you want me to stop the All-Stars and get the Guild Alliance to investigate the Barbarian Snake Guild Club immediately?" Zhong Xiaobai was originally immersed in all sorts of negative emotions. However, when he heard the female voice that suddenly appeared beside Lin Yuan, he almost couldn't breathe. F***CK, big sister, are you speaking human words? Aren't you being too pretentious? How could a competition like the All-Stars be stopped so casually? She even had to instruct the Guild Alliance to investigate. Zhong Xiaobai was very clear about what kind of organization the Guild Alliance was. How could the Guild Alliance listen to a single person's command and interfere with the All-Stars that the Guild Alliance had meticulously planned? Wasn't this the same as a person using a pair of scissors to cut his meticulously woven clothes? If Zhong Xiaobai didn't know Lin Yuan's identity as Black and was Lin Yuan's comrade-in-arms who had gone through life and death with him, Zhong Xiaobai was afraid that he would turn around and leave at this moment, wanting to stay far away from the mental patient, when you. However, for some reason, Zhong Xiaobai felt that the girl's words just now had an indescribable air of nobility and matter-of-fact. It was as though it was extremely easy to say those words, as natural and simple as drinking water. The insensitive Zhong Xiaobai also came back to his senses and couldn't help but start to guess Lin Yuan's identity. At that moment, Zhong Xiaobai's cell phone rang. After Zhong Xiaobai picked up the phone, his expression became anxious. After hanging up the phone, Zhong Xiaobai hurriedly said, "Something happened at the treatment center. There's a situation at the treatment center. I need to go back and take a look." Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan turned around and said to the people around him, "You guys go to the venue to watch the competition first. I will go to the treatment center with Zhong Xiaobai to take a look. When I come back, I will go straight to the seats to look for you guys." When Zhong Xiaobai heard Lin Yuan's words, his heart suddenly warmed up, and he couldn't help but pat Lin Yuan's shoulder hard. He shouted "Good brother" and once again attracted the attention of the Radiant Light Palace's staff. After explaining to everyone, Lin Yuan and Zhong Xiaobai walked out of the Radiant Light Palace. On the other hand, the mother of Bloodbath was like a shadow that followed closely behind him. Along the way, Zhong Xiaobai's mood was still very heavy. Suddenly, he heard a strange and pleasant voice. How do you think a kidney should be roasted to be delicious? When Zhong Xiaobai saw that there was a person following Lin Yuan, he only thought that it was Lin Yuan's friend. As the person was wearing a silver mask, Zhong Xiaobai could only tell that it was a woman based on her hair. Zhong Xiaobai was a little curious. How did this woman know that I like to eat kidneys and has some research on it? Could it be that I have eaten too much and can tell from my face? The second one was even worse. End of this chapter. Chapter 613. On the soft feather unicorn's back, Lin Yuan was still thinking about Lu Pinru's soul injury. Soul injuries were extremely difficult to heal, and most of the things that could heal them were very precious. They were no longer in the category of ordinary spiritual ingredients. However, Lin Yuan happened to have something that could heal soul injuries. It was the cold snowpine's tree sap. However, the cold snowpine's tree sap could only be considered a half-finished product for healing soul injuries. It still needed to use pure fire elemental energy to roast the cold snowpine's sap into cold snowpine fragrance. Therefore, Lin Yuan was not worried that Lu Pinru would collapse due to the loss of her 5 senses. This time, Lin Yuan would follow Zhong Xiaobai to the treatment center because he wanted to heal Lu Pinru's soul injury as soon as possible. He wanted to let Lu Pinru suffer less. As for the 5 senses that had been stolen by the Steel Perception King Ji Yu, Lin Yuan had 100 ways to help Xin Ying, Lu Pinru, and Tanran get them back. Upon hearing the Mother of Bloodbath's question to Zhong Xiaobai, Lin Yuan knew that the Mother of Bloodbath's gourmet habit was acting up again. Back in Millstone Town, the Mother of Bloodbath had always been on his body. As a third party, the Mother of Bloodbath had seen everything that had happened more clearly than Lin Yuan. Although Zhong Xiaobai did not know the Mother of Bloodbath, the Mother of Bloodbath was very familiar with him. The Mother of Bloodbath, who was passionate about food, was thinking about the kidney that Zhong Xiaobai had been saying was fragrant. Zhong Xiaobai's heart was heavy and he did not like to talk much. When it came to food, the Mother of Bloodbath, which was usually a quiet person, became more talkative. This complementation allowed Zhong Xiaobai and the Mother of Bloodbath to exchange their experiences and insights on the topic of the kidney. Lin Yuan shook his head. If the Mother of Bloodbath really did as Zhong Xiaobai said and tried the tender kidney that was 30% ripe, Zhong Xiaobai would probably be beaten up by the Mother of Bloodbath afterward. When they arrived at the treatment center, Zhong Xiaobai led Lin Yuan to Xin Ying, Lu Pinru, and Tan Ran, who were lying motionless on the bed as if they were in a deep sleep. Inside the treatment center, there was a woman holding a scepter, and a cage hung at the front of the scepter. There was a green butterfly in the cage. He was confronting an old man with messy clothes and a messy beard. Upon seeing Zhong Xiaobai come in, the old man with a messy beard shouted at him. "White kid, you asked me to help heal your Fei's damaged roots. Now, you're looking for a healing-type spirit chi professional. What's the meaning of this? You don't believe in this old man's skills?" Zhong Xiaobai hurriedly apologized to the disheveled old man with messy clothes and a black beard. "Sorry, Master Hongshan. This is our team leader." When Zhong Xiaobai answered the phone, he heard Master Hongshan say that someone was causing trouble in the treatment center and that he was not going to treat them. However, he didn't expect that the person who came would be Lady White Devil, who had spent a lot of money to terminate the contract with the Extreme Club. "Sister Daisy, why did you come to this place?" White Devil didn't immediately answer Zhong Xiaobai's question. Instead, she glared at the disheveled and unkempt god Hongshan. "Old man, don't you recognize me?" Master Hongshan rolled his eyes. "Mother **K, you've asked me several times, who are you? Do I have to recognize you?" Just as Master Hongshan finished speaking, he saw the strange woman who was carrying a cage on the street giggling at him before responding with a hee-hee sound. "Sigh." Master Hongshan's face immediately flushed with anger. God knew how much this narcissistic woman had taken advantage of his catchphrase. White Devil looked at Zhong Xiaobai apologetically and said, "I've heard about the 4 of you. I've heard about what happened to the 4 of you. If I hadn't terminated the contract with the Extreme Club, the 4 of you wouldn't have been replaced." Zhong Xiaobai quickly waved his hand and said, "I've heard about the 4 of you. It has nothing to do with senior sister. White Devil reached out and patted Zhong Xiaobai's shoulder. If you want to play in the S tournament, you can still play for another 5 years at your age. I heard that you've also withdrawn from the Extreme Guild Club. It's a smart choice. Why don't you settle down for a year and find a suitable guild club to work hard? Don't be too caught up in the past. Let the past be the past. After speaking, White Devil didn't care about Zhong Xiaobai's reaction. She took out a bronze fey storage box from the butterfly-shaped diamond fey storage box in front of her chest and handed it to Zhong Xiaobai. The lustrous weaver silkworm that you asked me to find should have used up all your savings. This fey storage box contains the lustrous weaver silkworm that you asked me to find and the money you paid me in advance. Take it back first. You should be rather short of money now. You don't have to bother about the Barbarian Snake Guild Club's Meng Shu. The All-Star match will end today, and I will settle it tomorrow or the day after. After speaking, White Devil looked at the sleeping Lu Pinru with pity and left the infirmary. Zhong Xiaobai wasn't the only one who didn't expect to meet White Devil here. Even Lin Yuan didn't expect that one of the main characters of the duel that had set off his dream half a year ago would appear before him again. When he had watched White Devil and Unknown Flame's duel, he had felt that White Devil was a very cold person. He didn't expect White Devil's personality to be the exact opposite of her personality. She was cheerful and gentle, even though this gentleness was only shown in action. However, it was also this gentleness that showed in action that White Devil was a very kind person. From Zhong Xiaobai's performance, Lin Yuan could see that Zhong Xiaobai and White Devil weren't very familiar. They were merely the main force members and reserve members of the same guild club. White Devil was the Radiance 100 sequence number 18 and had a transcendent status. However, she was very considerate towards the reserve members. Especially when Zhong Xiaobai and the others encountered difficulties, she was willing to lend a hand. Just at the end, when White Devil said that she would help settle the Barbarian Snake Guild's problem, it was the same as taking on a rather big problem for herself. All of a sudden, Master Hong Shun's originally relaxed expression changed. His entire body stiffened, and his hands tightly grabbed onto the corner of the table beside him. Bean-sized beads of sweat rolled down Master Hong Shun's forehead. Zhong Xiaobai clearly understood Master Hong Shun's situation and didn't panic. Instead, he took out a small medicine bottle from Master Hong Shun's pocket and poured out a pill to help Master Hong Shun put it into his mouth. Lin Yuan, who was 3 meters away from Master Hong Shun and Zhong Xiaobai, smelled a very bitter taste. At that moment, the mother of Bloodbath, who was beside Lin Yuan, spoke softly. This old man's soul is so severely injured, but he is still able to hold on. How interesting. Part 3. Requesting monthly votes and recommendation votes. Love you guys, Muax. End of this chapter. Chapter 614. When Lin Yuan heard that, he looked at the disheveled Master Hong Shun with surprise. When Lin Yuan had entered, he had noticed that Master Hong Shun was wearing a Class 3 Creation Master crest. Furthermore, the 4th star pattern on the Class 3 Creation Master's crest had risen, indicating that Master Hong Shun's Creation Master ability had reached the pinnacle of a Class 3 Creation Master. It could be said that Master Hong Shun had already reached the limits of a Creation Master when his soul spirit was injured. Only after a long while did Master Hong Shun recover from the intense pain. Master Hong Shun, who came back to his senses, picked up the cup on the table and gulped down the water in the cup before saying to Zhong Xiaobai, "Kid, I have healed the phase with damaged roots that you sent over. However, you can't owe me the money you owe me. As usual, if you don't have enough money, go dig some bitter fern roots for me when you're out on a mission." Upon hearing the words bitter fern root, Lin Yuan knew what the bitter smell was. It turned out that Master Hong Shun had been relying on the bitter taste of the bitter fern root to suppress the pain in his soul. This was also a good way to use one of the 5 senses, taste, to share the pain of the injured soul. If the tip of an ordinary person's tongue touched the root of the bitter fern, they would feel like they were chewing on coptis for a day. It could be said to be an inhuman torture. However, this kind of pain that ordinary people couldn't bear was actually a relief for people whose souls were injured. Lin Yuan saw that Master Hong Shun was calculating the treatment fees with Zhong Xiaobai. Lu Pinru's 4 lustrous weaver mulberry silkworms had been revived and were spitting out silk threads from their frames. He was about to see if he could rent a room from Master Hong Shun so that he could use the Heavenly Maiden grade fire elemental pearls to roast the cold snowpine's tree sap into cold snowpine incense to heal Lu Pinru's soul injury. At that moment, Lin Yuan heard Master Hong Shun say to Zhong Xiaobai, "Get lost, kid. I'm tired. Next time you come, don't forget to dig up a good bitter fern root and bring it to me. Otherwise, you wouldn't have come." As he spoke, Master Hong Shun's expression turned ugly again. He hurriedly took out the medicine bottle from his bosom and poured out 2 pills made from the roots of the bitter fern and placed them in his mouth. To resist the pain coming from the depths of his soul, Lin Yuan said to Zhong Xiaobai, who was walking toward him, "Little White, go and rent a place from Master Hong Shun. I'll go and concoct the medicine to heal Lu Pinru's soul." When Zhong Xiaobai heard this, his face immediately showed a look of surprise. Zhong Xiaobai could feel how difficult it was to treat a soul injury just by looking at how Master Hong Shun had been suppressing it with the bitter fern root for so many years without being able to heal it. Originally, Zhong Xiaobai was prepared to wait for Xin Ying and Tan Ran to wake up before going on a mission to raise money and think of a solution for Lu Pinru. If he couldn't raise enough money in a year, he could always think of something after 5 or 10 years. However, he did not expect that Lin Yuan would actually make a move and solve this problem. All of a sudden, Zhong Xiaobai remembered that Lin Yuan was not only a healing class spirit chi professional but also a creation master. Just as Master Hong Shun was about to mock Lin Yuan, he saw the crystal bottle in Lin Yuan's hand. Master Hong Shun's eyes widened in shock. Master Hong Shun wasn't sure what the liquid in the bottle was, but he could tell that the liquid in the bottle was emitting an ice-cold and moist feeling. It had already suppressed the pain in the depths of Master Hong Shun's soul. After the pain disappeared, Master Hong Shun hurriedly spat out the bitter fern root pill that had yet to melt and cursed. "It's really King bitter." Zhong Xiaobai was just about to discuss with Master Hong Shun about renting a room in the treatment center when Master Hong Shun's eyes lit up and he took small steps to Lin Yuan's side. "Little handsome brother, can you sell some of the liquid in the bottle to this old man? I'll do anything you want me to do." Lin Yuan looked at Master Hong Shun strangely. Lin Yuan rarely came out, and even if he had outstanding looks, there were almost no opportunities for people to call him little handsome brother. However, now that an old man was calling him little handsome brother with greedy eyes, Lin Yuan felt his hair stand up. Especially the last sentence, "I'll do anything you want me to do." It made Lin Yuan rather puzzled. Is he really allowed to do anything? You're already so old. Don't tell me you still have some tricks up your sleeves. When Master Hong Shun saw that Lin Yuan wasn't moved after hearing his request and was only looking at him in astonishment, Master Hong Shun immediately became anxious. He stared at the bottle in Lin Yuan's hand and reached out to snatch it. At this moment, Master Hong Shun felt a chilling pressure pressing down on him, making it difficult for him to breathe. The chilling pressure only appeared for a moment before it was withdrawn. Master Hong Shun glanced fearfully at the woman who was looking at him with a sneer on her face. He then recalled that he had to be tortured by the intense pain in his soul several times a day. Clenching his teeth, he spoke. "If you are willing to sell some of the liquid in the bottle to this old man so that this old man can suppress the damage to his soul, then you can choose any of this old man's wealth. If you can completely heal this old man's soul injury, this old man is willing to work for you." After speaking, Master Hong Shun brushed aside his messy beard and removed a black ring-shaped diamond fey storage box that was wrapped in his beard. He solemnly held the black ring-shaped fey storage box in his hand and handed it to Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan looked at the expression on Master Hong Shun's face and thought of the pain he had suffered after his soul trauma flared up. It was as though he suddenly understood why a creation master would be willing to use freedom as a bargaining chip. Lin Yuan shook the milky blue liquid in the bottle and said, "That's right. This is the sap of a suzerain myth 2 cold snow pine. What do you have that you can trade with me?" When the mother of Bloodbath saw Lin Yuan speak, its eyes flashed with a bright gaze. He knew that Lin Yuan was already coveting this disheveled old man with messy clothes and a black beard. Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Master Hong Shun's face sank. He glanced at the black ring on his hand and put it away. Master Hong Shun took a step back and looked at Lin Yuan solemnly. I might be a pinnacle Class 3 creation master now, but I have been stuck at it for 15 years. I believe that after my soul spirit recovers, I will be able to grasp the method to use my soul spirit power to concoct the spirit fluid. In less than half a month, I will be able to become a Class 4 creation master. Speaking up to this point, Master Hong Shun tidied up his messy clothes before continuing. This old man is willing to offer all of my freedom to you, and swear on the willpower rune to become your follower. The first one was even worse. End of chapter. Chapter 615. Master Hong Shun didn't hesitate to throw out all his chips. As a person who had to endure pain, it wasn't easy to see a way to get rid of the pain. Naturally, he would want to grab it with all his might. It was like a person who saw light in the darkness and was touched by the light. How would he be willing to retreat into the abyss behind him? When Lin Yuan heard Master Hong Shun's words, his eyes lit up. Lin Yuan was originally only planning to take advantage of Master Hong Shun. In Lin Yuan's subconscious, it was almost impossible for a creation master to swear a willpower rune to follow him. However, Lin Yuan didn't expect Master Hong Shun to self-destruct right after he started to take advantage of him. Master Hong Shun had placed everything he could on the table for Lin Yuan to enjoy. According to Master Hong Shun was only a step away from becoming a Class 4 creation master. If Master Hong Shun could successfully become a Class 4 creation master after healing his soul injury, Sky City would have a true Class 4 creation master overseeing it. As for becoming a Class 4 creation master in a short time, Lin Yuan wasn't sure if Master Hong Shun was telling the truth. Regardless of whether it was true or not, it didn't matter to Lin Yuan. Master Hong Shun was only a pinnacle Class 3 creation master, and Lin Yuan was already willing to use the rosin from the cold snowpine's tree sap as an investment. The cold snowpine's tree sap could heal soul injuries, and it was a treasure that was hard to find. In Lin Yuan's heart, the cold snowpine's tree sap was a kind of collector's item, and it was considered Lin Yuan's trump card. Given Lin Yuan's stingy character, he would never sell such a trump card in his hands. If he could exchange it for a long-term pinnacle Class 3 creation master's labor, it would be worth it. Even if Master Hong Shun didn't become a Class 4 creation master within a short time after his soul was healed, it didn't matter. A pinnacle Class 3 creation master's ability to upgrade phase grades was enough to solve Lin Yuan's current urgent need. A creation master's strength required constant use of spiritual ingredients to concoct spirit liquids and long-term accumulation. Lin Yuan's workload as a creation master was very huge. Putting aside everything else, just the 20 supreme grade immortal fish and the angelfish of bliss that were about to give birth to their young would require Master Hong Shun to upgrade them to gold. With such a huge workload, Master Hong Shun would probably become even more diligent than Hu Quan. Lin Yuan believed that even if Master Hong Shun was a fool with an IQ of -50,000, he would still be able to familiarize himself with the heavy workload and comprehend the method to use soul spirit power to concoct spirit fluids to become a Class 4 creation master. Since Master Hong Shun would become his follower in the future, there were some things that he had to say first. You are a pinnacle Class 3 creation master, so you should know the price of the cold snow-white pine sap. If I accept you as my follower, you will have to work hard for me to show your value. As Lin Yuan spoke, the mother of Bloodbath looked at him with appreciation. As a spider species fae, the mother of Bloodbath had always been cold-blooded on its advancement path and had killed countless faes. Therefore, the mother of Bloodbath could understand Lin Yuan's willingness to use the cold snowpine's tree sap to heal Lu Pinru. They were comrades who had gone through life and death together. However, he felt that Lin Yuan was too willing to pay with his hard-earned capital. When the mother of Bloodbath heard Lin Yuan's request to this slovenly old man in front of it, the mother of Bloodbath knew that when Lin Yuan was giving, there was always a scale weighing in his heart. However, the weight of feelings in Lin Yuan's heart was much higher than that of ordinary people. It was also because of this that the cold-blooded mother of Bloodbath had unknowingly acknowledged Lin Yuan. When Master Hong Shun spoke earlier, he was very apprehensive. A pinnacle Class 3 creation master might come into contact with suzerain spiritual ingredients. However, after a suzerain fae became a myth breed, Its spiritual ingredient was not something that a pinnacle Class 3 creation master could come into contact with. Furthermore, it was a myth too suzerain fey that could heal the soul. When all his trump cards were placed on the table, Master Hong Shun, who had always thought that he was good, felt for the first time that he was not worthy of using the cold snowpine sap. If this youth was willing to use 5 drops of the cold snowpine's tree sap to find a Class 4 creation master to work for him, it should not be a problem to hire a mid-grade Class 4 creation master for 2 months. Therefore, Master Hong Shun knew that his only competitive factor was loyalty. Master Hong Shun's loyalty was what Lin Yuan needed the most. The golden lotus brocade stalk that Lin Yuan had mutated from the flower brocade pearls was a huge treasure, and if he wanted to nurture it, he would need the labor of a creation master. The benefits involved in nurturing such a precious mutated fey population were too great. Without the restriction of the willpower rune oath, Lin Yuan would not be at ease. Upon hearing Lin Yuan's words, Master Hong Shun revealed a pleasantly surprised expression. Master Hong Shun understood that this youth had already agreed to his request and just wanted to squeeze out his labor. As compared to the soul pain that he had to endure every day, squeezing out his labor was simply a kind of enjoyment. Master Hong Shun had lived for so many years and was already a half-buried person. He naturally understood the principle that the more effort he put in, the more rewards he would receive. The busier he was, the more helpful it would be for his creation master's strength. The stronger his creation master's strength was, the more attention he would receive from this youth. It was a virtuous cycle that required him to put in hard work. All right, as long as you can let me rest for 8 hours every day, I can work for 16 hours. Master Hong Shun gritted his teeth and said, I can also contract a vitality sloth. I can also form a contract with a vitality sloth. That way, I can extend my working hours. Lin Yuan hurriedly waved his hand and said, there's no need for a vitality sloth. There's no need for the vitality sloth. You don't have to be so busy working here. However, you still have to guarantee 12 hours of working time. After Master Hong Shun's soul injury was healed, he had to swear on the willpower rune to become Lin Yuan's follower. That would be equivalent to being on Lin Yuan's side. In order for Master Hong Shun to better display his value, Lin Yuan was also planning to pour resources into him. Naturally, he would not let Master Hong Shun contract a useless fey like the vitality sloth that had no limits and could be contracted by anyone. Lin Yuan had a headache about Hu Quan contracting the vitality sloth. He originally wanted to ask Hu Quan if there were any feys suitable for a spirit craftsman that he wanted to contract. In the end, Hu Quan had secretly contracted the vitality sloth in order to be able to work hard. Bookmark for easier reading. Chapter 616. However, this was Hu Quan's own choice, so Lin Yuan could not interfere too much. When Zhongbai saw everything from Lin Yuan's side, he felt that this world was simply too magical. Why did Master Hong Shun, who had always been ill-tempered, turn into a crazy bootlicker and want to follow Lin Yuan after he took out this bottle of milky blue tree sap? Master Hong Shun was a pinnacle Class 3 creation master. At the same time, Zhongbai looked at Lin Yuan with indescribable gratitude. It was something that could make pinnacle Class 3 creation masters give up their dignity and be willing to exchange loyalty and freedom. Lin Yuan casually wanted to let Lu Pinru use it. Given Zhongbai's understanding of Lin Yuan, if it weren't for Master Hong Shun's bootlicking, Lin Yuan wouldn't have been able to survive. Zhongbai felt that even after Lu Pinru's soul injury was healed, Lin Yuan would not mention the value of this bottle of milky blue tree sap. Master Hong Shun eagerly poured out his treatment center's workshop for Lin Yuan. When Lin Yuan walked to the entrance of Master Hong Shun's workshop, he saw all sorts of spiritual ingredients and used potions piled up in a disorderly manner. It was abnormally dirty and messy. Even the air was still filled with the strange smell of a variety of spiritual materials. There was an obvious bitterness in this smell, which should be the smell of bitter fern and fern. Master Hong Shun looked at Lin Yuan awkwardly and smiled. I'm used to being rude. But don't worry, sir. I'll do my best to tidy up the studio when I work at your place. Lin Yuan looked at Master Hong Shun skeptically. How could it be so easy to change one's nature and habits formed over many years? Presumably, when Master Hong Shun went to the manor, when you, the housekeeper of the manor, would have a headache about the hygiene of Master Hongshan's studio. Master Hongshan asked with a grin when he saw Lin Yuan ignore him and enter the workshop. "Sir, do you need help? If you need help, this old man can come in and be Master's assistant, or even help Master operate it." Master Hongshan didn't sign a contract with him, but Lin Yuan realized that Master Hongshan was already yelling at him. When Lin Yuan came out this time, there was a Class 2 Creation Master crest hanging on his chest. Lin Yuan noticed that Master Hongshan's eyes were sneaking glances at the Class 2 Creation Master crest on his chest from time to time, and there was a hint of worry hidden in his eyes. Lin Yuan smiled in his heart. Master Hongshan wanted to enter the workshop to be Jiang Yi's assistant. Was it because Jiang Yi was a Class 2 Creation Master and was afraid that Jiang Yi would fail and waste the cold snowpine's tree sap? "Since you want to come in, then come in. I'm not afraid of being disturbed when concocting the frigid snowpine's tree sap." Master Hongshan panicked. Master Hongshan didn't know how Lin Yuan was going to concoct the cold snowpine's spirit fluid. However, it was common knowledge that a creation master would fail if they were slightly distracted when concocting the spirit fluid. As a creation master, Master Hongshan understood how terrifying the external interference was when concocting the spirit fluid. Lin Yuan was a Class 2 Creation Master at such a young age, and Master Hongshan was now considered half a follower of Lin Yuan. Once Lin Yuan healed his soul injury, he could immediately sign a follower contract with Lin Yuan. Therefore, Master Hongshan didn't dare to say anything to Lin Yuan. However, Master Hongshan really wanted to grab Master Lin's collar and ask him how he taught his disciple. Before Master Hongshan could continue speaking, Lin Yuan had already taken out a box that emitted a jade-like luster. Master Hongshan could not help but blurt out, "A completely jade-textured parasol wood box." As soon as Master Hongshan spoke, he immediately shut up awkwardly. However, Master Hongshan realized that Lin Yuan didn't seem to be affected at all. Instead, he poured the cold snowpine's tree sap into the completely jade-textured parasol wood box. Among the various wood-type spiritual ingredients, the jade-textured parasol wood was abnormally compatible with the fire element. Under normal circumstances, the pure fire element wouldn't ignite the completely jade-textured parasol wood. Instead, it would nourish the completely jade-textured parasol wood like spirit chi. Lin Yuan didn't have a ready-made completely jade-textured parasol wood. This parasol wood box was cut from the parasol wood rack in the spirit lock spatial zone a few days ago. It was so that he could use it when calcining the cold snowpine's tree sap. However, he didn't expect that this completely jade-textured parasol wood box would come in handy not long after it was created. Lin Yuan looked at the milky blue cold snowpine's tree sap rippling in the completely jade-textured parasol wood box. Lin Yuan shook his hand and took out 10-9 purity Australian maiden-grade fire elemental pearls. Most of the elemental pearls produced by the Bronze Legacy elemental shellfish in the Spirit Lock spatial zone contained beads. However, due to the large number of elemental pearls accumulated, there were also some Heavenly Maiden-grade elemental pearls without beads. The price of Heavenly Maiden-grade elemental pearls with beads was far more expensive than those without beads. Therefore, when consuming Heavenly Maiden-grade elemental pearls, Lin Yuan would be thrifty and choose to consume them without beads. Lin Yuan threw one of the elemental pearls into the parasol wood box. The instant the Heavenly Maiden-grade fire elemental pearl was thrown into the parasol wood box. The dark red parasol wood box with wooden patterns was as bright as a red crystal and emitted a red haze that looked like a fire cloud. At the same time, the milky blue tree sap was released with pure fire elemental energy from the Heavenly Maiden-grade fire elemental pearl. It ignited a mixture of azure blue and crimson flames of hot and cold colors. Lin Yuan thought to himself, "As expected, I prepared a completely jade-textured parasol wood sea in advance. Otherwise, if it had been another container, it would have already exploded under the extreme cold and extreme heat flames. However, for the completely jade-textured parasol wood box, the extreme cold and hot flames were not considered a burden. No matter what kind of flames it was, they were all fire elements and would only have a nourishing effect on the completely jade-textured parasol wood box." After the first fire elemental pearl was completely consumed, Lin Yuan threw in the second fire elemental pearl. Lin Yuan threw in the second fire elemental pearl and kept the ice blue and scarlet flames burning at the same time. In the beginning, the cold snow pine tree sap's ice blue flames had been suppressing the crimson flames released by the fire elemental pearls. As the fire elemental pearls continued to be thrown in, the situation grew. Slowly, the crimson flames released by the Heavenly Maiden grade elemental pearls were about to suppress the cold snow pine tree sap's ice blue flames. Upon seeing this, Lin Yuan's speed of throwing in the Heavenly Maiden grade elemental pearls slowed down. Instead, he crushed the Heavenly Maiden grade elemental pearls and added the powder bit by bit. From the moment Lin Yuan took out the Heavenly Maiden grade fire elemental pearls, Master Hong Shun had been watching Lin Yuan's godly operation with his mouth wide open. Bookmark for easier reading. Chapter 617. Following Lin Yuan's operation, the increasingly dense pine fragrance dispersed all the strange smells in the workshop. The workshop's aura was like a newly born pine sprout under a 100-meter layer of snow. The scent of the pine sprout lingered in his nose, and he felt as though his fingers had pierced through the layer of snow and fallen into a world full of cedars. The pine sprout's fragrance made Master Hong Shun feel as though his soul was constantly being comforted, and it was abnormally comfortable. Thus, Master Hong Shun's mouth had been wide open for a long time. Instead, he used the 2 holes on his nose and mouth to crazily suck in the pine sprout's fragrance. The wonderful feeling of his soul being comforted made Master Hong Shun involuntarily intoxicated. At that moment, as Lin Yuan added in the fire elemental pearl powder, the cold snow pine sap, which was getting increasingly blue, instantly looked as though all the blue color had vanished along with the last wisp of ice flame. When the ice blue ice flame vanished, the scarlet flame was also extinguished. The moment the 2 types of flames vanished, the cold snow pine sap's milky blue tree sap instantly turned into black powder. Lin Yuan's lips curled into a smile. The pine smoke is like ink, and the ink has a sense of pine. Cold snow pine fragrance, done. Lin Yuan didn't pour the cold snow pine sap out of the parasol wood box into the crystal bottle. Instead, he covered the parasol wood box. He used the completely jade-textured parasol wood box as a container to store the cold snow pine sap. The completely jade-textured parasol wood was nourished by the fire element and contained the aura of 2 types of flames, which could be used to nourish the cold snow pine sap. Lin Yuan turned around and saw Master Hong Shun frantically inhaling the cold snow pine sap like a huge hippopotamus. He walked to Master Hong Shun's side with a smile. He took out a silver spoon from the amber button-shaped diamond face storage box and used it to gently scoop up a bit of the cold snow pine sap that had been calcined into black powder. Lin Yuan used the most ordinary flame to ignite the black powder inside the silver spoon and placed the silver spoon on Master Hong Shun's nose. The smoke was sucked into Master Hong Shun's nose and reached the depths of his soul. The pine spring-like fragrance warmed the soul. At this point, the soul injury that had tormented Master Hong Shun for decades was healed. After Master Hong Shun woke up from his intoxication, it was as though he didn't know how Lin Yuan had ignited the cold snow pine sap. However, when Master Hong Shun sensed that his soul was extremely relaxed, he knew that his damaged soul had completely recovered. Master Hong Shun looked at Lin Yuan with gratitude and knelt on one knee. With a wave of his hand, a willpower rune, which he had clearly comprehended from plants, revolved around Master Hong Shun's finger. With Master Hong Shun's devout vow, he finally became Lin Yuan's follower. Master Hong Shun, who was kneeling on one knee, suddenly felt puzzled. Logically speaking, after his soul spirit had recovered, he should have become a healthy pinnacle Class 3 Creation Master and could become a Class 4 Creation Master at any time. Wherever he went, he would be able to make a name for himself and enjoy life wantonly. But why didn't she hesitate when she swore with the willpower rune to become this young man's follower? Looking at the bright smile on the young man's face, Master Hong Shun, who had become Kiran's follower, lowered his head respectfully. Master Hong Shun knew that if it wasn't for this youth in front of him, he would probably have to endure the pain and torment brought about by the trauma to his soul for the rest of his life. Everything that happened in this short period of time was like an accident in the time it took for a spark to fly off a flint. From Master Hong Shun's point of view, this accident was also his redemption. Lin Yuan reached out and helped Master Hong Shun, who was kneeling on one knee, up. Master Hongshun had now completely become Lin Yuan's follower. When Master Hongshun had summoned the willpower rune, Lin Yuan couldn't help but raise his brows in surprise. Lin Yuan could feel that the willpower rune that Master Hongshun had comprehended must have been comprehended from plants. This was because the willpower rune's rich plant vitality could not be faked. However, the willpower rune that Master Hongshun had comprehended from plants also contained an obvious bloodthirsty and murderous aura. This made Lin Yuan involuntarily think of the willpower rune that he had comprehended from his spiritual spatial zone ever since he had comprehended it. It was the willpower rune that he had comprehended under Extreme Massacre. The two willpower runes' murderous auras were too similar. If one had to carefully distinguish them, one would be able to distinguish some differences. The willpower rune that Lin Yuan had comprehended had a murderous aura that was close to madness. As for the slovenly Master Duan Li's willpower rune, it had a murderous aura that was close to elegance. Lin Yuan pondered silently. Such a willpower rune was obviously not suitable for those fays that assisted creation masters and raised their standards. Instead, it was more suitable for powerful combat class fays. Master Hongshun, can you show me your contracted fey? If it had been someone else speaking to Master Hongshun like this, Master Hongshun would probably have given that person a slap. It was a very rude thing for spirit chi professionals to ask about each other's contracted fays. It was considered a taboo. It was the same as using a trick to not show off one's trump card. However, Master Hongshun had already set his position as Lin Yuan's follower. Not only did Master Hongshun not feel that there was anything wrong with Lin Yuan's question, but he was also very happy. With a wave of his hand, he summoned his contracted fey. In Master Hongshun's opinion, Lin Yuan's question was equivalent to his concern. Master Hongshun was abnormally confident in his fays. At the same time, Master Hongshun treated this display of his fey as an opportunity. Lin Yuan saw Master Hongshun raise his hand, and a mass of purplish-black energy halo circulated. Immediately after, this mass of purplish-black light grew bigger and bigger, as though it had opened up a purplish-black domain. In the center of the domain, a lush succulent plant that was over 1 meter tall appeared. When Lin Yuan saw the fey that Master Hongshun had summoned, he immediately looked at Master Hongshun in shock. It seemed like he didn't just obtain a follower with the abilities of a pinnacle Class 3 creation master. At the same time, this follower with the abilities of a pinnacle Class 3 creation master was also a pinnacle King Class combat class spirit chi professional. Even though Master Hongshun had only comprehended one willpower rune, his contracted fantasy breed fey was simply too powerful. Lin Yuan really didn't know how many resources Master Hongshun had poured in to nurture such a fey to such a degree. Lin Yuan felt that he had truly made a huge profit by recruiting a follower like Master Hongshun. While looking at the fantasy breed fey in front of him, he was secretly shocked. Lin Yuan also started to use Morbius True Data to check on the fey's attributes. After taking a look, Lin Yuan realized that Master Hongshun's contracted fantasy breed fey was much stronger than he had expected. Bookmark for easier reading. Chapter 618. Fey name, Black Copper Pot Mage, Fey species, Crassulaceae lotus palm, Fey grade, Diamond, 10/10, Fey type, Dark, Fey quality, Fantasy Ivy abilities Sad Smiley Lotus Palm Black Bullet. Each flower core can rapidly gather dark energy and form a dark-type energy bomb with strong adhesion and corrosiveness. Split Fragment Bullet. When the Lotus Palm Black Bullets collide, they will shatter, and the shattered energy will form an energy bomb with the Lotus Palm Black Bullet structure again. Lotus Palm Puppet. The Black Copper Pot Mage will store the dark-type Fey skeleton in the flower head. When the flower head falls, the flower head will spit out the nurtured Fey skeleton and burn the energy in the flower head to control the skeleton. Reserve Young Roots. The Black Copper Pot Mags will form 4 seeds near their roots. Each seed will quickly release the energy within the seed after leaving the mother's body, forming a Black Copper Pot Mage with the same strength as the mother. When the energy within the seed is exhausted, the Black Copper Pot Mage born from the seed will immediately wither. Old Copper Stem Stump. The Black Copper Pot Mage will absorb too much dark-type energy at night and store it in the old copper stem stump. Copper Pot Disintegration. the Black Copper Pot Mage will only leave one flower head and sacrifice all the other flower heads to release a Lotus Palm Black Bullet that contains the sacrificed flower head's energy. Exclusive skill Sad Smiley Darkness Essence. The body will extract the dark energy and increase the purity of the body's dark energy. Dark Slaughter. When the target is killed, the death aura produced at the moment of the target's death will give back a certain amount of dark energy to the Black Copper Pot Mage. The Black Copper Pot Mage was a succulent plant species Fae, the Black Wizard, that had gone through constant mutation and evolution. Lin Yuan was abnormally familiar with the Black Wizard. At that time, in Redbud City's Xia region Fae store, apart from raising some production-type Faes, the Usneas, the Jasmine Lily and the Green Wizard. The succulent plant species Fae, the Black Wizard, was almost the same as the Green Wizard. The Green Wizard was a pure poison-type attack method, while the Black Wizard used dark-type energy as its main attack method. The reason Lin Yuan did not sell the Black Wizard in the Fae store was that he felt it was useless compared to the Green Wizard at normal. The reason why Lin Yuan did not sell Black Wizards in the Fae store was that he felt that compared to Green Wizards, Black Wizards were simply useless at normal. Even if green mags weren't very useful, they could still poison a few flies to death when they were normal rank. It could be considered as a simple pest control for the room. Meanwhile, the darkness energy emitted by a dark mage at the normal rank was so powerful that even a mosquito could not push it away. Be it the Jasmine Lily, the Green Mage or the Black Mage. These three meaty plant Faes could be considered the Faes with the lowest bottom line. As long as anyone in the Radiance Federation was willing to work hard and earn 500 Federation dollars, they would be able to buy a pot of Black Wizard. However, very few Spirit Chi professionals were willing to contract Black Mags. It was just like how no healing-type Spirit Chi professional was willing to form a contract with the Jasmine Lily. Naturally, it was fair. A lower limit meant a higher limit. Just like Lin Yuan's Jasmine Lily. After pouring in a huge amount of resources, just the normal ability, Heal, coupled with the exclusive skills, Life Imprint, and Severed Connection, was not inferior to other healing-type Faes of the same grade and quality. However, it would consume a lot of resources to evolve and mutate a Fae with a low bottom line. It was just like filling up a bottomless pit. Lin Yuan really didn't expect that someone in this world would be willing to upgrade a Black Wizard to the Black Copper Pot Wizard's strength and level. It was reasonable to say that even if some Spirit Chi professionals had a poor family background and a low starting point, after these Spirit Chi professionals accumulated a certain amount of resources, they would definitely purchase a relatively good Fae. Then, they would quickly change their main Fae. Instead, it would be a stubborn nurtured Black Wizard. When Master Hong Shen summoned the Black Copper Pot Wizard, Lin Yuan saw that there were hundreds of flower heads on it. He was certain that when Master Hong Shen was nurturing the Black Copper Pot Wizard, it had undergone a group mutation. It was just like the mutation that occurred when the Jasmine Lily evolved into a fantasy breed. However, when the Jasmine Lily evolved into a fantasy breed, apart from the group mutation, it had also undergone a fasciation mutation. Lin Yuan looked at the number of flower heads and was certain that the Black Copper Pot Wizard had reached Diamond X. However, Lin Yuan didn't expect Master Hong Shen's Black Copper Pot Wizard to also reach Fantasy 4. Master Hong Shen's strength could be considered outstanding among pinnacle king-class experts. Furthermore, the Black Copper Pot Wizard's combination of abilities and exclusive skills could be said to be simple and violent. The normal ability, Black Lotus Palm Bomb, could produce dark-type energy bombs with strong adhesion and corrosiveness. It could be considered a kind of violent continuous single-target damage. The elite ability, Split Fragment Bomb, gave the Black Copper Pot Wizard a group attack effect. Together with the gold ability, Reserve Young Roots, it could expand the Black Copper Pot Wizard's group attack range. At the same time, the 4 seeds of the gold ability, Reserve Young Roots, grew 4 Black Copper Pot Wizard child ramets, which was equivalent to multiplying the Black Copper Pot Wizard's group attack ability. This allowed the Black Copper Pot Mags to adjust the range and power of their spells as they pleased during group attacks. The Diamond ability, Copper Pot Disintegration, was also considered an outstanding burst ability. The Platinum ability, Old Copper Pot Stake, was equivalent to providing the Black Copper Pot Wizard with a container full of dark energy. During the battle, the black copper pot wizard could freely use the dark energy in the container to squander. The black copper pot wizard's only special ability was the silver ability, Lotus Palm Puppet. When the silver ability was at a low grade, its ability might not be very obvious. However, as the black copper pot wizard became stronger, the dark-type Fey skeleton that it could control would also become stronger. It would also play a greater role in the battle. To a certain extent, the silver ability, Lotus Palm Puppet, could be considered to increase the black copper pot wizard's mobility. The Lotus Palm Puppet was different according to the dark-type Fey skeleton that it controlled. Some dark-type Fey skeletons could also be used for control or defense. It was tantamount to increasing the black copper pot wizard's combat style. Lin Yuan could not help but suddenly think of the dark-eyed scorpion tiger and dark spirit eye tadpole in his diamond Fey storage box, where the sacred source lifeform, sacred sword-hugging queen, had extracted their willpower runes. The dark-eyed scorpion tiger's spiritual ingredients were precious because of its blood, fur, and several dark eyes on its head. The dark spirit eye tadpole's spiritual ingredients were precious because of the mucus on its body surface and the gelatinous substance in its head. After the mother of Bloodbath finished dividing the dark-eyed scorpion tiger and dark spirit eye tadpole, the skeleton could be given to Master Hong Shun to use. The first was even better. End of this chapter. Chapter 620. When Master Hong Shun sensed Lin Yuan's Law of Darkness aura, it was as though he had seen a ghost. Master Hong Shun had seen Emperor-class experts and myth-breed Fays with law runes before. However, the law power of those Emperor-class experts and myth-breed Fays could not be compared to Lin Yuan's law runes. Each law rune's law power was relatively singular. However, the dark energy rising from Lin Yuan's body was like the fog under the fading night, and the fog revealed hidden dangers. This was obviously not an aura that a single law rune could emit. Master Hong Shun did not think that Lin Yuan would be very strong based on his age. Now that he used his spiritual energy to probe Lin Yuan's strength, he realized that his spiritual energy seemed to be blinded by something and could not be seen clearly. Master Hong Shun swallowed his saliva and could not help but guess that the youth he had just pledged allegiance to was an Emperor-class expert with multiple law runes. He had just heard Master Hong Shun talk about finding Emperor-class experts and myth-breed Fays with the Law of Darkness to help transform Medusa. Lin Yuan immediately recalled what his master, the Moon Empress, had said about Medusa's knowledge. After a Medusa absorbed the first wisp of elemental energy to determine its attribute, it was not impossible to change it. It just needed to be guided by the elemental law power. Lin Yuan's sacred source lifeform, the sacred sword-embracing queen, had absorbed 2 complete darkness-type law runes and 2 darkness-type willpower runes willpower. As a result, the princess's silk dress had almost turned into a black dress through and through. As long as Master Hong Shun's poison-type Medusa stayed with the sacred sword-embracing queen more often, it would be affected by the 2 darkness-type laws and willpower. Due to the influence of the 2 darkness-type laws and willpower on the skirt, its attribute should soon change. Master Hong Shun felt that today was his lucky day. Not only did he solve the big problem that had been troubling him for a long time, but he had also solved it. Not only had he solved the big problem that had been troubling him, but even the small problem that had been frustrating him had been perfectly resolved. While he was surprised by Lin Yuan's Law of Darkness, Master Hong Shun was also delighted. He carefully asked Lin Yuan, "Young master, are you an Emperor-class expert?" Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan immediately knew that Master Hong Shun had sensed the surging law power around him. Upon hearing that, Lin Yuan immediately knew that Master Hong Shun had sensed the surging law power around him. After the queen's skirt had absorbed the power of the laws and willpower, it had produced a shielding effect, causing others to be unable to check his spirit chi professional rank. However, Lin Yuan didn't give Master Hong Shun an answer. This was also the first time Lin Yuan had used the sacred source lifeform, sacred sword-embracing queen, Luo Kun's law and will. Lin Yuan realized that he seemed to be quite bluffing. However, if he didn't use the function of the holy sword mode, the surging rule power in his body was nothing more than a paper tiger. Other than scaring people, there was no practical effect. However, when Lin Yuan saw the black copper pot mage, who was visibly fearful after activating the dark-type law and will on the princess dress, even the flower head was a little listless. Lin Yuan thought to himself, this kind of scaring effect seems to be pretty good. Leave your Medusa with me. When Wizard Medusa transforms from the poison element to the dark element, I'll give her to you. Master Hong Shun hurriedly handed the Medusa to Lin Yuan in excitement. If it had been someone else, Master Hong Shun would not have handed over Wizard Medusa. After all, Master Hong Shun had yet to make a contract with such a precious Medusa. If someone else were to trade or contract the Medusa after taking it away, Master Hong Shun would suffer a great loss. However, Master Hong Shun did not have any concerns with Lin Yuan. As Lin Yuan's follower, Master Hong Shun was already considered Lin Yuan's private property to a certain extent. Master Hong Shun understood that if Lin Yuan wanted this Medusa, he could just ask for it from him. Master Hong Shun had no way of rejecting it. Moreover, Lin Yuan was even willing to use such a precious suzerain myth-breed spiritual ingredient to heal the soul. Naturally, he would not deceive his Medusa. Lin Yuan stored the Medusa in the Fey storage box and left the workshop with Master Hong Shun. Lin Yuan scooped a little cold cedar incense powder with a silver spoon and lit it on Lu Pinru's nose like when he had treated Master Hong Shun. However, since Lu Pinru was unconscious, she could not quickly inhale the smoke from the cold cedar incense into her nose. Lin Yuan circulated his spirit qi and used it to drive the airflow to inject the smoke from the cold cedar incense into Lu Pinru's body through her nose. Although Lu Pinru was still sleeping quietly like before, as the pine smoke entered her body, Lu Pinru's soul injury had completely recovered. She no longer had to endure the intense pain from her soul when she had lost all 5 senses. After treating Lu Pinru, Lin Yuan turned to Master Hong Shun and said, Master Hong Shun, help me take care of my 3 friends in the treatment center first. Master Hong Shun, please help me take care of my 3 friends in the treatment center first. Give me a call when my 3 friends wake up so that I can arrange a place for you to go. As he spoke, Lin Yuan gave his number to Master Hong Shun. Then, Lin Yuan, the mother of Bloodbath, and Zhong Xiaobai left Master Hong Shun's treatment center and rushed back to the Radiant Light Palace, where the All-Star match was being held. Using the cold snowpine's tree sap to concoct the cold cedar incense was a delicate task. He had to let the cold snowpine's tree sap naturally change under the pure fire element. It took Lin Yuan nearly 3 hours to complete the task. As a result, it was already past noon. The All-Star exhibition match should be almost over by now. Zhong Xiaobai had 2 huge stones pressing on his heart before coming, so he was not in the mood to chat with the mother of Bloodbath. He had restrained 90% of his talkative and cheerful nature. Now that Lu Pinru's soul injury had been healed by Lin Yuan, and White Devil had said that she would help Xin Ying and Lu Pinru recover their 5 senses from the Sense Control King Jiyu tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, Zhong Xiaobai, who had the 2 big stones in his heart lifted, completely erupted with his talkative and cheerful nature. Perhaps because he had been suppressed for a long time, Zhong Xiaobai, who had released his nature, started to talk incessantly. This caused the mother of Bloodbath, who had been chatting happily with Zhong Xiaobai, to be unable to stand him. Zhong Xiaobai rode on the soft-feathered scaled bird's back and shouted at Lin Yuan and the mother of Bloodbath, who were riding on the other 2 soft-feathered scaled birds. Let me, Zhong Xiaobai, see if you're smart. I'll give you a brain teaser, okay? Lin Yuan had seen Zhong Xiaobai's brain teasers before. When he heard Zhong Xiaobai's question, he didn't want to reply. However, the mother of Bloodbath's interest was piqued. Even 10 of you combined wouldn't be as smart as me. I can guess your brain teaser in one go. The first one was even better. End of this chapter. Chapter 621. When Zhong Xiaobai heard that his intelligence was being questioned, he immediately became indignant. You say you're smart. Then let me ask you, what kind of natural phenomenon can an old monk flip through scriptures create? Lin Yuan originally did not want to participate, but when he heard Zhong Xiaobai's question, his mind started to think uncontrollably. However, no matter how he thought, he had no clue. The mother of Bloodbath frowned and pondered. Zhong Xiaobai's question had really stumped the mother of Bloodbath, which had been focusing on delicacies ever since it transformed into a human. Zhong Xiaobai saw that no one could guess it and did not give Lin Yuan and the mother of Bloodbath a chance to think about it. He said with a grin, It's scripture reading, idiot. As soon as Zhong Xiaobai said that, Lin Yuan choked on his saliva. The mother of Bloodbath also knew that Zhong Xiaobai had always been very naughty, so it resisted the urge to kick him off the soft-feathered scalebird's back. However, the mother of Bloodbath secretly released a trace of its myth-breed phase pressure along the way, causing the soft-feathered scaled bird to fly up and down. Zhong Xiaobai, who wasn't afraid of heights, was also shocked by the sudden change. His teeth were chattering, and he couldn't say a word. Lin Yuan watched as the soft-feathered scaled bird carrying Zhong Xiaobai suddenly fell from a height of 500 meters to 100 meters and rapidly rose from 100 meters to 400 meters. He felt that this was much more exciting than the skydiving machines he had seen in his previous life. By the time the 3 soft feather-scaled birds landed in the Radiant Light Palace, the mother of Bloodbath was torturing the soft feather-scaled bird that Zhong Xiaobai was riding on. Even with the soft-feathered bird's strong physique, it was still lying there listlessly, as if it had been hollowed out. Although Zhong Xiaobai was a little scared by the soft-feathered scaled bird's sudden movements in the beginning, he was still a little scared. But when he felt the feeling of using it up and down, Zhong Xiaobai was in high spirits. At this time, after getting off the back of the soft-feathered bird, Zhong Xiaobai licked his lips. It was as if he wanted to experience this continuous feeling of up and down again. When Lin Yuan returned to the Radiant Light Palace, he was no longer in the mood to wear the mask that he had bought. Zhong Xiaobai walked to Lin Yuan's side, and the relaxed and joyful expression on his face slowly disappeared, becoming very serious. Lin Yuan, you guys go watch the All-Star match first. I'll go to the lounge and look for the Extreme Guild Club's team leader to handle the withdrawal procedures for Xin Ying, Tan Ran, and Lu Pinru. Zhong Xiaobai looked at Lin Yuan with indescribable gratitude, but he did not say too many words of gratitude. Zhong Xiaobai was usually not very tactful, but he placed great importance on relationships. Zhong Xiaobai did not want to just talk about Lin Yuan's great kindness. Instead, he kept it in his heart. Lin Yuan asked curiously when he heard Zhong Xiaobai's words. Didn't the 3 of them personally go to the Extreme Guild Club to complete the withdrawal procedures? Will the Extreme Guild Club release them now that it's officially the season? Zhong Xiaobai lowered his head and said softly. The 3 of them haven't woken up, and the Extreme Club knows about their current situation. Applying to terminate the contract means that everything that happens in the future will have nothing to do with the Extreme Guild Club. I'm afraid the Extreme Guild Club can't wait for the 3 of them to terminate the contract. But if they wait for the 3 of them to wake up and then go to terminate the contract, I'm afraid the Extreme Guild Club won't let them go so easily. At that time, they can only pay the 100,000 Radiance dollars stipulated in the contract to leave like me. Zhong Xiaobai shrugged and was silent for a moment before continuing. Even if the application to leave the Extreme Guild Club has been approved, I'm the one who handled it. According to the Guild Alliance's rights, the 3 of them also have a 3-day consideration period. The 3 of them must have woken up in 3 days. At that time, it will be up to them to decide whether to leave the guild or not. As Zhong Xiaobai spoke, Lin Yuan could hear that he was full of consideration for Xin Ying, Lu Pinru, and Tan Ran. Although Zhong Xiaobai was usually joking, he was really abnormally reliable at critical moments. At the mention of the Extreme Guild Club, Lin Yuan could feel the bitterness in Zhong Xiaobai's heart. It was obvious that Zhong Xiaobai had deep feelings for the Extreme Guild Club after what happened. After these things happened, Zhong Xiaobai's original feelings and expectations for the Extreme Guild Club had turned into deep disappointment. The Dome Guild Club that Lin Yuan had established only had 1 member in the reserve team, including Chu Xiai's addition. Zhong Xiaobai, Xin Ying, Lu Pinru, and Tan Ran were just enough to fill the vacancy of the Extreme Guild Club's reserve team. Moreover, Lin Yuan, Zhong Xiaobai, Xin Ying, Lu Pinru, and Tan Ran had experienced life and death together, so he understood their strength. The 4 of them might not be outstanding among the younger generation, but their phase was still pretty good. In particular, Lu Pinru already had 4 lustrous weaver silkworms with the same abilities and exclusive skills. During the battle, Lu Pinru commanded the lustrous weaver silkworms to put on Pinru's clothes for her teammates and their phase. It was simply too fierce. Now that Lin Yuan had Master Hong Shun, a pinnacle Class 3 creation master, by his side, he could totally let Master Hongshan enhance the four of them. After all, Zhong Xiaobai, Xin Ying, Lu Pinru, and Tan Ran were all solid B-rank spirit chi professionals, and their phase could be upgraded to platinum at most. Even if the four of them did not comprehend willpower runes, the strength of their platinum phase could faintly rival the strength of gold fantasy breed phase. This level of strength was more than enough to use. However, the problem between Zhong Xiaobai, Xin Ying, Lu Pinru, and Tan Ran and the Extreme Guild Club had not been completely resolved. It was not a good time for Lin Yuan to throw out an olive branch. Lin Yuan took out his ticket and waved it at Zhong Xiaobai. "My seat is A0217. Just find me when you're done." Upon hearing that, Zhong Xiaobai waved at Lin Yuan and ran toward the Extreme Guild Club's lounge. Looking at Zhong Xiaobai's departing figure, the mother of Bloodbath said to Lin Yuan, "Apart from being unreliable, Zhong Xiaobai has a good temperament." Apart from being unreliable, Zhong Xiaobai has a good temperament. It's rare for him to be so thoughtful for his companions. If I can join the guild club you establish in the future, I'm willing to give that bloody leech a chance. When Lin Yuan heard the mother of Bloodbath's words, he knew that it appreciated Zhong Xiaobai very much. As soon as Lin Yuan and the mother of Bloodbath entered the arena, they were shocked by the cheers of 200,000 spectators in the audience seats. The cheers of 200,000 spectators raised the atmosphere to the peak, making Lin Yuan immediately excited. But all of a sudden, Lin Yuan heard the originally noisy cheers suddenly become unified. His ears were filled with black. "It's Black. Wah, Lord Black." Such a voice rang out. Lin Yuan was shocked. Did I expose my identity? The second one was even more shocking. End of this chapter. Chapter 622. Just when Lin Yuan thought that his identity had been exposed, Lin Yuan suddenly recalled that he was not wearing the silver mask that Genius had transformed into. Moreover, the vendors outside the Radiant Light Palace were selling silver masks. Even if he wore the silver mask and walked toward the audience seats, the audience should not be surprised. When Lin Yuan looked at the other audience members in the Radiant Light Palace, he immediately realized that he had been thinking too much. Lin Yuan saw that the audience members were staring at one spot in the arena. Lin Yuan followed his gaze and saw a Dao shadow walking toward the dual arena from the audience seats. This person who was walking towards the arena was wearing a silver mask. When Lin Yuan saw this figure, his eyes immediately shrank. This was because this figure was actually wearing the same clothes as Chu Ci when she came to the arena in the morning. Logically speaking, there were 200,000 audience members, and the population base was huge. It was not strange for them to wear the same clothes. However, the clothes that Chu Ci was wearing could not be bought on the market. Instead, it was cut from the entire skin of a platinum Kirin star spotted fish. The skin of the Jilin star dot fish was a very rare material. Under the illumination of the light, the pale golden fish skin would shimmer like stars. Since it was custom-made, it was almost impossible for them to wear the same clothes. At that moment, Lin Yuan could hear the shouts of Black's name from time to time. A loud male voice rang out from the direction of the dueling arena. Congratulations to this lucky audience member for being chosen by the Dragon Gate Guild Club's representative, Chen Hongfeng. Chen Hongfeng is a member of the Dragon Gate Guild Club's reserve team. In the top 16 and top 8 matches, he entered the main team as a reserve team member and helped the main team achieve good results. Lucky audience member, I wonder if you want to challenge the Dragon Gate Guild Club's Chen Hongfeng to prove your strength? Or do you want to conduct a guidance battle? The Dragon Gate Guild Club's Chen Hongfeng will personally guide you in combat techniques. When he heard the voice coming from the center of the arena, Lin Yuan immediately knew that it was the All-Star Match's host and commentator. Although Lin Yuan rarely paid attention to those famous hosts and commentators in the Radiance Federation, he was not unfamiliar with this person. As long as the S tournament had some superstar teams colliding with each other, or if it was a large-scale match, it would be hosted and commentated by this bearded man in the center of the arena. He continued to stare at the silver-masked figure for a moment before confirming that it was Chu Ci. Then, he heard Chu Ci's voice. Of course I choose the challenge. It was Chu Ci's words that raised the atmosphere once again. It's a challenge competition, and it was a girl. This girl won't be scared to tears by Chen Hongfeng's smooth-toothed elephant lizard. The person wearing my husband's mask is actually a woman. Chen Hongfeng, I order you to beat her up. I never thought that someone would dare challenge the guild challenge this year. It's fortunate that this woman encountered the Dragon Gate Guild Club and not the Barbarian Snake Guild Club. He heard the fighting spirit and eagerness in her words. Of course I choose to challenge you. Lin Yuan could not help but have a headache. In such a real-life duel, the collision between Fays wouldn't be as simple as it was on the Star Web. It was very easy to get injured. Even if one won the duel, the winner would have to pay a huge price under the loser's all-out counterattack. Lin Yuan looked at the audience around the Radiant Light Palace and then at the young girl standing in the middle of the arena who had already decided to challenge. The feeling that his younger sister had really grown up arose spontaneously. It made Lin Yuan feel proud and a little melancholic. It was said that gold would always shine. After Chu Xi's hard work and Lin Yuan's resources, she was no longer just a piece of gold. She was a pearl that had been stored in a box and had converged its brilliance. This duel was the moment when Chu Xi, the pearl in the box, shone with a resplendent brilliance and illuminated the mountains and rivers. Lin Yuan had fought with Chen Hongfeng a few months ago and had some understanding of Chen Hongfeng's strength. If Chen Hongfeng's two Fays still maintained their previous standards, Chen Hongfeng was likely to be broken by the challenger he had chosen in the challenge competition. Chu Xi's words stunned the host, Hua Ziyuan, who had not expected that the first lucky audience member to be chosen would be in the challenge competition. Furthermore, it was during the Dragon Gate Guild Club's All-Star competition where they had just defeated the Rhine Guild Club. Hua Ziyuan quickly said. The first lucky spectator chose the challenge. His courage is commendable and worthy of encouragement. Since the lucky audience that Chen Hongfeng personally selected has chosen the challenge match, then Chen Hongfeng must go easy on them. Chen Hongfeng nodded and said in a deep voice, I will treat this challenge as a tutorial battle. Chen Hongfeng's words immediately caused another round of cheers, but there were also a few words mixed in. Hua Ziyuan actually asked Chen Hongfeng to show mercy. Why do I have a bad feeling about this? Great Celestial Hua, don't tell me that you're secretly working hard to create trouble for the Dragon Gate Club. Just now, Rhine Club lost because of deity Hua's poisonous milk. Lin Yuan heard the words of the audience beside him and thought to himself. If Chen Hongfeng underestimated his opponent, he might really be taught a lesson by Chu Xi. As for the famous host and the famous commentator, Hua Ziyuan's toxic healer, it could be considered an important reason why Hua Ziyuan was so popular as a commentator and host. In the past few years of the S tournament, it was unknown how many evenly matched battles had been lost by Hua Ziyuan's poisonous milk. Lin Yuan had already arrived at his seat. As soon as he sat down, he heard Liu Jie mumble softly. If the Dragon Gate Guild Club's Chen Hongfeng dares to hurt Chu Xi, I have to go to Longdao and ask for an explanation. Chen Hongfeng actually said that he wanted to play the challenge match as a tutorial battle. As expected of someone brought up by Longdao. He's even more pretentious than that old man. While muttering to himself, Liu Jie saw that Lin Yuan had returned. He hurriedly took out a bento and handed it to Lin Yuan before giving the rest to the mother of Bloodbath. Lin Yuan, did things go smoothly? Lin Yuan nodded. Very smoothly. Was there anything exciting about the exhibition match just now, Big Brother Liu? Hearing this, Liu Jie's expression immediately became serious. The Dragon Gate Guild Club's Fang Duo showed his hidden trump card. Fang Duo is very similar to Longdao. Longdao's main Fei, the Sea King Chalk Mosasaurus, did not hide it, and Fang Duo's main Fei has always been that Platinum 2 Fantasy 2 Fury Terror Ray. But I didn't expect Fang Duo to actually secretly nurture a Platinum 6 Fantasy 2 Turbo Spinner Tooth Shark. Fang Duo exposed his trump card at this time. It looks like he's going to attack the Radiance 100 sequence ranking this year. Based on the strength Fang Duo has shown now, it shouldn't be impossible for him to rise from sequence 43 to the top 30. Lin Yuan found that although Liu Jie's expression was very serious when talking about Fang Duo's strength, there was no sense of seriousness. It seemed that after the Insect Queen absorbed the Blade Queen Bee's mental toxin and completed its mutation, Liu Jie no longer felt that Fang Duoduo's exposed strength was a threat. First, more. End of this chapter. Chapter 623. When Liu Jie had returned to the Radiance 100 sequence, he had defeated the original Radiance 100 sequence number 30, Invisible Coil Lan Feichuan. He had replaced Lan Feichuan's position. However, this ranking was only because Liu Jie had withdrawn from the sequence to protect Cold Frost City. Now that he had returned to the sequence, it was the privilege given by the Radiance Sacred Hall. Before the Radiance 100 sequence selection, the Radiance 100 would undergo a major sequence change and determine the seeded contestants from sequence number 9 to sequence number 100 for the selection. Lin Yuan asked, "Big Brother Liu, are you planning to charge forward again this year?" Upon hearing that, Liu Jie nodded with a firm and full of fighting spirit. "Lin Yuan, it won't be a problem for you to enter the Radiance 100 sequence this year. Since you've also entered the Radiance 100 sequence this year, I'm prepared to see where the limits of my current strength are." As he spoke, Liu Jie's eyes flashed with confidence. After the Insect Queen had mutated, as its contractor, Liu Jie only knew that the Insect Queen had undergone an earth-shattering change. However, he could not be sure how strong it was now. The Radiance 100 sequence's ranking could be used as a touchstone for the mutated Insect Queen. At the same time, Liu Jie thought of the strength that Lin Yuan had displayed in the evolved Water World Dimensional Rift. Had it not been for the first-year newcomers entering the Radiance 100 sequence only being ranked from sequence number 91 to number 100, Lin Yuan's ranking would probably be higher. Big Brother Liu, Fang Duoduo took out his trump card and allowed the Dragon Gate Guild Club to suppress the Rhine Guild Club. "Didn't the people from the Rhine Club show their trump cards?" Liu Jie asked. "The All-Star Matches exhibition match doesn't have much value. Although the champion team can increase popularity, apart from the Barbarian Snake Guild Club, no other guild club can enter the top 16 with low popularity. If they have tricks up their sleeves, they should be preparing to use them in the real S tournament." Fang Duoduo exposed his trump card too early. When the Rhine Guild Club and the Dragon Gate Guild Club fight, the Rhine Guild Club will make a battle plan in advance to target Fang Duoduo. I feel that the Dragon Gate Guild Club's 5th member is still uncertain this year. With the 4 main members and Chen Hongfeng participating in the final battle, they shouldn't be able to beat the Rhine Guild Club, which hasn't revealed any trump card yet. As Liu Jie spoke, he shifted his gaze to the Dragon Gate Guild Club's seating area. He noticed that Fang Duoduo was also looking in his direction. Fang Duoduo didn't expect his eyes to meet Liu Jie's. Fang Duoduo stretched out his hand and made a yeah gesture. Liu Jie looked at Fang Duoduo, who had a watermelon haircut and was smiling heartlessly, and nodded slightly as a greeting. Fang Duoduo turned his head to look at Long Dao, who was flipping through a stack of documents. "Boss, our Feng's opponent seems to be a lucky spectator who came with Liu Jie." As he spoke, Fang Duoduo extended his hand towards the fried chicken in Zhao Xiaochun's hand. He tore a thigh from the fried chicken and stuffed it into his mouth. Zhao Xiaochun glared at Fang Duoduo and put the fried chicken behind her. "I'm going to die. Fang Duoduo. Just now when I was eating my hamburger, you took away all my lettuce leaves, and now you want to steal my fried chicken," Long Dao said helplessly. He did not expect Fang Duoduo and Zhao Xiaochun to quarrel in front of so many people. "Xiaochun, stop eating. Is Mu Xiongju's food that good? And I even let you pack so many of them." Seeing Zhao Xiaochun eating the fried chicken in her hand like a hamster, Long Dao silently lit a candle for Shushu in his heart. Upon hearing Fang Duoduo say that the woman in the duel arena had come with Liu Jie, Long Dao subconsciously looked in Liu Jie's direction. However, when he saw the youth wearing white and blue spirit chi clothes next to Liu Jie, Long Dao's expression immediately froze. Long Dao still remembered that when he had been competing with the tea attendants in the Radiant Moon Palace at the Leaning Moon Mountain, he had exhausted all the spiritual power in his body. It was the youth sitting next to Liu Jie who had helped him recover his strength and prevented him from making a fool of himself and falling to the ground. Long Dao was a smart person and could tell from Cold Moon's attitude toward the youth. He knew that he and Cheng Rui were destined to be foils. Presumably, this youth was already the Moon Empress disciple. After seeing Lin Yuan, Long Dao put down the documents in his hand and frowned at the arena. He had a feeling that the challenge later would not be so simple. In the duel arena, Chu Ci and Chen Hongfeng had already set up their stances. Before the duel, both sides had to reveal their spirit chi professionals type. When Hua Ziyuan, the host and commentator, heard that Chu Ci was a defense-type spirit chi professional, he could not help but break out in a cold sweat for her. Chen Hongfeng was a combat-class spirit chi professional. The smooth-toothed elephant lizard was a pure violent melee fighter, while the huge-tailed swamp lizard was a flexible long-range magic-type attacker. The combination of a close-range and long-range attack was very comprehensive. Defense-type spirit chi professionals mostly relied on team combat. In such a duel, Hua Ziyuan was really afraid that Chu Ci, who was a defense-type spirit chi professional, would become a live target the moment she entered the duel arena. Although he was worried, Hua Ziyuan saw that both sides had set up their stances. It was about time, so he shouted in a deep voice, "Let the duel begin." Accompanied by the announcement of the start of the duel, two violent roars echoed. One of the roars was very loud and carried a cruel flavor. The other roar wasn't loud, but when that roar sounded, a loud roar rang out. The ground at Chen Hongfeng's feet had become a quagmire with a radius of 20 square meters. The huge-tailed swamp lizard immediately hid in the swamp that had just appeared. After being summoned, the huge smooth-toothed elephant lizard stopped in front of Chen Hongfeng and stared at Chu Ci, who was opposite Chen Hongfeng. Swinging its thick and powerful tail, it prepared to charge forward. Hua Ziyuan immediately explained. The Dragon Gate Guild Club's Chen Hongfeng summoned his signature Fei, the Gold X Epic Smooth-Toothed Elephant Lizard and the Gold X Epic Huge-Tailed Swamp Lizard. As soon as Hua Ziyuan introduced Chen Hongfeng's Fei, he saw the lucky spectator standing opposite Chen Hongfeng waving his hand. A butterfly that looked like it was carved out of high-quality yellow jade flew out of his palm. The butterfly's wings were decorated with gorgeous patterns of peonies. As the commentator and host of the tournament, Hua Ziyuan was a Class 2 creation master, so he could immediately recognize a Fei's grade and quality. Hua Ziyuan widened his eyes and said in surprise, "This is actually a Bronze X Epic Butterfly Fei." As soon as Hua Ziyuan's voice fell, the originally noisy audience became completely silent. The second one was even worse. End of chapter. Chapter 624. Any spirit chi professional knew what a bronze fantasy breed Fei meant. Chu Ci had revealed her bronze fantasy obsidian iron wild bull in the Redbud Spirit Chi Academy and was named the #1 genius of the Radiance Federation's younger generation. It could be seen how rare a bronze fantasy breed Fei was. In fact, apart from showing potential, a bronze fantasy breed Fei also meant an extraordinary background. Otherwise, even if one comprehended a willpower rune, it would be useless without a bronze legend Fei. The challenger was wearing a silver mask, so no one knew his age. Even if this lucky masked spectator was older than Chen Hongfeng, just his bronze fantasy breed Fei alone was already more talented than Chen Hongfeng, who had 2 gold epic Feis. After all, Chen Hongfeng didn't have a single fantasy breed Fei yet. The scene on the field made the Palace of Glow Light fall silent for half a minute, and then there was a burst of violent shouts. The entire arena's atmosphere was even comparable to the duel between the Dragon Gate Guild Club and the Rhine Guild Club. Bronze Fantasy Breed. NB. I didn't expect the first challenge to be so exciting. I actually saw a bronze fantasy breed Fei in reality. But even a bronze fantasy breed can't beat 2 pinnacle gold large lizard. F***CK, it's actually a bronze fantasy breed Fei. And it's a butterfly species Fei. It looks much better than the Iron Bull Princess's bronze fantasy breed. Lin Yuan listened to the noise and didn't think much of it at first. However, when he heard the words Iron Bull Princesses, he was surprised to see a fatty waving his hands excitedly not far from him. In the entire Radiance Federation, there were bronze fantasy breed Feis. Some pinnacle factions with pinnacle class 4 creation masters had the opportunity to nurture bronze legend Feis. These bronze legend Feis naturally had to display their greatest value and become bronze fantasy breed existences. However, after these bronze legend Feis were promoted to bronze fantasy breed, they would soon be promoted to silver fantasy breed. It was considered a trump card of the top faction's younger generation and wouldn't be revealed. It was also because of this reason that Chu Ci had caused such a huge commotion in the Redbud Spirit Chi Academy when she revealed her bronze fantasy breed Obsidian Iron Wild Bull. Bronze fantasy breed fays were already rare. The Iron Ox princess this fatty was referring to was probably Chu Ci. As the elder brother, Lin Yuan heard his sister being called the Iron Ox princess. He couldn't help but clench his fist. Apart from Iron Tong's sister nurturing Plan 4.0, Lin Yuan suddenly had a new plan. Iron Ox Princess crushing Plan 1.0. Lin Yuan believed that the Iron Ox Princess's plan crushing 1.0 would definitely help Chu Ci get rid of this unpleasant title. Otherwise, it would be too unpleasant for a girl to be called a big Iron Ox. He knew that Chu Ci had a bronze fantasy Obsidian Iron Wild Bull, but he did not expect her to have a bronze fantasy butterfly fae. From the looks of it, this bronze fantasy butterfly fae was very similar to the emerald jade butterfly, which had the strongest defense among butterfly fays. Liu Jie knew that Lin Yuan could take out a bronze legend fae. However, having a bronze legend fae was one thing, and comprehending 2 willpower runes was another. Previously, there were many posts on Star Web saying that Chu Ci, the Radiance Federation's #1 genius, did not live up to her name. Ever since Chu Ci had been called the Radiance Federation's #1 genius on Star Web, she had been slandered a lot. Liu Jie thought. When Chu Ci summoned the Obsidian Iron Wild Bull, even if she was wearing a silver mask, the Obsidian Iron Wild Bull's appearance was enough to prove her identity. Although there were many similar types of common fays, after fusing with a common fae and the willpower rune to evolve into a fantasy breed, it would become a fantasy breed. Due to the different willpower runes, each fantasy breed fae was considered a unique existence. The signature fae could often represent a spirit chi professional's identity. Fang Duo of the Dragon Gate Guild Club asked Long Dao with his mouth agape. "Captain, say something. Is this butterfly species fae a bronze fantasy breed?" Long Dao glanced at Fang Duo and said, "Even if you aren't a creation master, can't you tell if this butterfly fae is a fantasy breed? Originally, I wanted our Feng to represent the Dragon Gate Guild Club in choosing the lucky spectators so that our Feng could show his face more. It would be helpful for our Feng when he enters the main team in the future. But when the opponent summons a bronze fantasy breed fae, the attention of this challenge is destined not to fall on our Feng. Even if our Feng wins the challenge, it's equivalent to losing. If I didn't see wrongly, this butterfly fae should be a mutated jadeite butterfly. According to the Class 5 scholar, Teacher Bobo's research, a fae's mutation talent is dependent on the complexity of the mutated fae. This butterfly fae has a positive mutation based on the jadeite butterfly. Upon hearing Long Dao's words, Fang Duo looked at the golden butterfly fluttering around the woman. The golden butterflies fluttered on the woman's dress, which was glowing with resplendent starlight. Fang Duo looked at Chen Hongfeng's 2 lizard fays again. Even so, a Feng will definitely win. Long Dao looked at Fang Duo as though he was looking at a deity and said, "Fang Duo, have you noticed that you've gained at least 10 kilograms since you started exploring shops with Zhao Xiaochun? Your double chin is about to come out. Your IQ has also been digested along with the food you eat and then excreted." Upon hearing Long Dao's words, Fang Duo touched his watermelon head and pinched his double chin. His mind was spinning rapidly. He thought that Long Dao was hinting to him not to always explore shops with Zhao Xiaochun. Or was he showing that he was fat, or was he despising him for being stupid? This was really a difficult question. Before Fang Duo could think of an answer, he heard Long Dao speak again. "If it were you, would you only form a contract with a bronze fantasy breed fae?" Upon hearing Long Dao's words, Fang Duo was startled. Then, he turned his head and stared at the arena. At that moment, a long bull's voice suddenly echoed. A black and strong bull species fae appeared in front of the silver-masked woman. This black bull species fae's entire body was emitting a rich metallic luster. It was also this metallic luster that made this bull species fae's black color look like a multicolored black. The first one was even more beautiful. End of this chapter.